Chapter 36-27. There were some wrinkles on the green-robed old man's skinny face. He dragged his slightly stooped body to Fang Chen's side and said, "I haven't fought for a long time. It's a good time to stretch my muscles." Xiao Mu's eyes were like torches as he stared at the green-robed old man. Although the green-robed old man looked like an ordinary person, he gave him a sense of fear. His intuition told him that this person was not simple. The protector of the no-demon cult screamed, "Qing Jun, you, 800 years ago, he fought with Qing Jun's incarnation in the demonic mountain range. In the end, the latter retreated with the Sky Sword Peak Master. Now, Qing Jun had returned." What? His Qing Jun? Obviously, some of the old monsters present had also heard of Qing Jun's name. They looked at the green-robed old man with greedy eyes. Seeing this, the black and white elders breathed a sigh of relief. If Qing Jun had returned, then there should not be much suspense in this battle. For a time, Xiao Mu's expression kept changing. He's just a remnant of the Battle of Gods. So what if he's back? Xiao Mu snorted coldly. He had a sacred item in hand. In this sinner's land, he was an invincible existence. Unless heaven-defying alliance leader and the others returned, no one would be able to stop him from advancing. "Everyone, follow me to kill the sinners," Xiao Mu roared. Suddenly, the battle began again. "Leave him to you." Qing Jun pointed at Xiao Mu and said to Fang Chen. "It's a good time to test my strength," Fang Chen said. Boom. In an instant, Fang Chen leaped and punched out, colliding with Xiao Mu's fist shadow. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Even the void trembled. As soon as they exchanged blows, Xiao Mu felt the aura of the Inferno Source. "Or it's you who stole my source, or?" Xiao Mu was furious, and a cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes. "The Inferno Source or is born from heaven and earth. I found it first, so it's mine," Fang Chen said. "A mere sinner dares to go against my carefree palace? You must be tired of living. After I kill you, I'll extract the essence of the mother or from your body." Actually, Xiao Mu was also very curious about Fang Chen. A person who had fallen into the reincarnation road actually came out alive after 100 years. Moreover, his strength had greatly increased. What had he gone through? What exactly existed in the reincarnation road? To him, this was a huge attraction. Everything will become clear once we suppress him." Xiao Mu snorted coldly. The power in his body vibrated, and the power of the origin spread out. His fists continued to attack. As expected. Seeing the origin energy surrounding Xiao Mu, Fang Chen sighed. The great monarch was right. The devouring devil clan's patriarch had taken away 2/3 of the Chaos Realm's destiny, causing the heavenly Tao to be incomplete and the origin to be thin. The origin they comprehended was fundamentally different from the devouring devil clans. The origin that Xiao Mu had comprehended was even purer. However, this did not stop Fang Chen from making his move. Heaven-severing alchemy art. He displayed the supreme technique. The hidden star sword in his hand danced out thousands of times in an instant. The terrifying sword shadows crisscrossed and forced Xiao Mu to retreat. "You're courting death." Xiao Mu stomped his foot and rushed over again, falling into a chaotic battle with Fang Chen. "Let's fight again." Qing Jun stopped the protector. The battle 100 years ago was not very satisfying because his incarnation was too weak. "Chimph, do you think I'm afraid of you?" The protector was surrounded by black qi, forming a terrifying vortex. He struck out with both palms, but Qing Jun easily dodged them. Crack! After his attack missed, the protector cried out in alarm. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. At this time, Qing Jun had already closed in on him. A palm strike landed on his back, sending him flying. Poochie! The protector spurted out blood, his face turned pale and his internal organs trembled. If it was an ordinary person, their soul would have been scattered by Qing Jun's palm. "Too weak," Qing Jun said leisurely. During the battle, Qing Jun seemed to have changed into a different person. His body was no longer bent, and the wrinkles on his face disappeared. He was like a god of war, raging on the battlefield. With the addition of Qing Jun and Fang Chen, the pressure on the Godsfall alliance was greatly reduced. Led by the Black and White elders, they besieged Xiao Mu's servants. Crack. Under the pincer attack of the Black and White elders, a servant was killed. Ah! In the distance, Xiao Mu gritted his teeth. He didn't care about the lives of the sinners who surrendered to him, but the 9 servants who followed him here were too important to him. Damn it! Xiao Mu vented his anger on Fang Chen. Heaven-severing alchemy art. Fang Chen exerted all his strength, put away the hidden star sword, took out the reincarnation blade, and slashed out. Hiss! Xiao Mu blocked with his fist and was instantly attacked by the reincarnation force. This is the reincarnation force? Xiao Mu was horrified and kept retreating. However, how could Fang Chen give him a chance to catch his breath? The heaven-severing alchemy art was performed again, and the blade accurately slashed on his body. Crack! One of Xiao Mu's arms hung down. Xiao Mu, who stabilized his body, stared at Fang Chen. You are the only one who has hurt me all these years. Xiao Mu said in a deep voice, don't worry, I won't kill you. I will suppress you, refine your primordial spirit, and turn you into a puppet, never to be reincarnated. I'm afraid you don't have the ability, Fang Chen said. Poochie. Another servant died. Xiao Mu was so angry that he was trembling. Boom. At this time, the battle between Qing Jun and the protector of the No-Demon cult had also ended. Although the protector of the No-Demon cult was strong, he couldn't resist Qing Jun at all and was finally killed by Qing Jun. Ah! A miserable scream was heard. The protector of the No-Demon cult wanted to escape, but he was trapped by Qing Jun's powerful means, and then his primordial spirit was shattered, causing him to die completely. Then, Qing Jun and the Black and White elders joined forces and killed the remaining servants in one breath. Boom! Boom! Every time a servant died, Xiao Mu would become even angrier. Seeing his 9 servants die in front of his eyes, he was furious to the extreme. All of you sinners must die. Xiao Mu's eyes were cold. No one can save you. Originally, he just wanted to control the Godfall battlefield and didn't want to kill all of them. But now, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to destroy. Completely destroy the land of the sinners. Only in this way could he eliminate the hatred in his heart. Especially when he saw Fang Chen, he gnashed his teeth in hatred. How is it? Do you need help? Qing Jun asked. The other battles on the battlefield were also almost over. Those forces that betrayed the Godfall alliance were scared out of their wits and were directly suppressed by Qing Jun. Now, everyone's eyes were focused on Fang Chen and Xiao Mu. Fang Chen waved his hand. Qing Jun instantly understood that Fang Chen wanted to solve it himself. Will there be any problem? The Black and White elders were a little worried. Don't worry, I have confidence in Fang Chen. Chapter 36-28. Xiao Mu held a holy artifact in his hand and called himself a god. But what he faced was a sinner abandoned by the devouring demon race. Every member of the devouring demon clan was instilled with the idea that the battlefield of gods was a cage that imprisoned the sinners from the day they were born. These sinners had once fought against the devouring demon race and committed a heinous crime. It's useless. You can't survive in front of my devouring demon race, Xiao Mu sneered. But soon, he added. No, you can live. With your strength, you can become my servant. I will personally suppress you and refine your primordial spirit. You will become my, Xiao Mu's, most loyal servant. Thinking of this, Xiao Mu couldn't help but laugh wildly. What kind of expression would the self-proclaimed most monstrous genius of the sinners have when he ordered him around like a slave? The devouring demon race is crazy. They try to control the world and kill other races. Even the heavens cannot tolerate it. Fang Chen said coldly. After learning the secrets of the Godsfall battlefield from the great sage, Fang Chen didn't have a good impression of the devouring demon race. You're courting death. Xiao Mu let out a low roar as he stomped his foot. Layers of complicated runes suddenly appeared around his body. These runes suddenly intertwined together and formed a seal. Die! Xiao Mu leaped up and stepped on the seal. The holy artifact in his hand emitted a dazzling light. He waved it, and the world dimmed as a terrifying power rolled over. Seeing this, the members of the Godsfall Alliance cried out in alarm. "Be careful," the black and white elders warned. Lord Green stood with his hands behind his back, controlling the situation. The Nether Ghost Lord stood to the side. Although he was seriously injured, he had also participated in the fierce battle. Cough cough. He coughed a few times and opened his palm. There was a sticky black blood. Whoosh. Lord Green flicked his finger and a pill appeared in front of the Nether Ghost Lord. "You're too injured. Swallow it." The Nether Ghost Lord could tell at a glance that the pill was extraordinary. He said excitedly, "Thank you, Lord Green." In front of Lord Green, the entire Godsfall Alliance was a junior. Boom. A gust of wind rose. Fang Chen made his move. After exchanging blows with Xiao Mu, he had already determined the latter's strength. Xiao Mu's cultivation was probably at the late stage of the Ninth Order Saint Realm and had yet to reach the peak. However, because the holy item in his hand was too powerful, he was able to severely injure the Nether Ghost Lord and suppress the Black and White Elders. Therefore, if he wanted to kill Xiao Mu, he had to be careful with the holy artifact. What a strange holy relic. The sacred object emitted a strange light that completely enveloped it. Fang Chen's nascent soul was unable to see through it, which surprised him. Demon-devouring clan bloodline? Suddenly, Fang Chen's bloodline stirred. Soon, he learned that the holy object contained the bloodline of the demon-devouring clan. Although it was rare, it resonated with the perfect bloodline. Crack! The sacred object in Xiao Mu's hand pressed down and shattered the void, sealing Fang Chen's escape route. Then, the seal under his feet turned into a wisp of black smoke and quickly surrounded Fang Chen. Hiss hiss hiss. Formation. Following Xiao Mu's loud roar, the seals instantly crisscrossed from all directions, trapping Fang Chen within. "Stupid sinner, what are you going to use to fight me?" Xiao Mu's voice came into the seal. Fang Chen held the reincarnation blade and looked around. A seal formed by combining the power of the origin with the bloodline of the demon-devouring clan? Fang Chen's attainments in seals were also very high. After he understood, he immediately cut his finger and dripped a drop of blood onto the reincarnation blade. Buzz! The blade of the reincarnation blade instantly emitted a cold aura and froze the surrounding void. Then, he suddenly slashed out with the blade. Boom! The power of reincarnation in the reincarnation blade circulated wildly. Under Fang Chen's control, it accurately bombarded the node of the seal. Crack! The seal couldn't withstand a single blow and shattered. Xiao Mu was stunned. However, after Fang Chen rushed out, he immediately used the heaven-severing alchemy technique. Whoosh! Dazzling sword light condensed into a sword that could destroy the world. It crossed the river of time and surged toward Xiao Mu. Xiao Mu's face was solemn as he screamed. The supreme technique. His body swayed slightly, and a ripple seemed to have appeared on the sacred artifact. "You actually have the supreme technique." Xiao Mu instantly thought of the reincarnation road. He couldn't wait to suppress Fang Chen. "I have to thank you for bringing the supreme technique to me." Xiao Mu grew up in the Origin Realm, so he knew more about the primal chaos supreme than anyone in the Godsfall Alliance. How powerful was the supreme technique? Xiao Mu didn't know. But he knew that in the demon-devouring clan, only the top and most outstanding elites would be bestowed with the supreme technique. Moreover, it was bestowed by the patriarch himself. Now, the supreme technique had appeared on a sinner. He wanted to snatch it and keep it for himself. Kill. He activated the sacred artifact to suppress Fang Chen. Boom, boom, boom. The sky-severing alchemy technique was too profound. Every time it was used, Fang Chen's understanding would deepen. Now, he had unleashed the sky-severing alchemy technique to the extreme. Even an invincible saint would find it difficult to resist the power of his sword. Dong. The sacred artifact emitted a domineering light and collided with the hidden star sword. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. Cracks appeared on the hidden star sword. The sacred artifact was also penetrated by the supreme technique, and its light weakened. Whoosh! Xiao Mu was forced to retreat. He stabilized his body and floated in the air, looking at Fang Chen greedily. The stronger the supreme technique, the more excited he was. The supreme technique is mine. Xiao Mu licked his lips. On the ground, Fang Chen felt pain in his hand. The sacred artifact is too powerful. It contains the bloodline of the demon-devouring clan and the mark of Xiaoyaro Hu. It is difficult to defeat it with the sky-severing alchemy technique alone. Fang Chen pondered in his mind. He thought of the copper bowl. Although the sacred artifact was powerful, it was not at the level of a supreme weapon. The copper bowl is not an offensive supreme weapon, but it can trap the sacred artifact. When I kill Xiao Mu, the sacred artifact will become an ownerless object. Fang Chen rolled his eyes. He had already thought of a way to deal with Xiao Mu. I admit that you are strong. Xiao Mu suddenly said, your potential is among the best in my clan. I don't want to kill a genius. If you give me the secret technique you just used and the reincarnation blade, I can let you live. Hee. Fang Chen raised his head and looked at Xiao Mu. Are you stupid or am I stupid? How could such an idiot say such a thing? As expected of the demon-devouring clan. They are a bunch of brainless things. Fang Chen shook his head. Xiao Mu was furious. You are dead. No one in the 9 heavens and 10 earths can save you. However, at that moment, Fang Chen unhurriedly took out a copper bowl from his bosom. The dull copper bowl caused Xiao Mu to cry out involuntarily. Chapter 36-29. Supreme Weapon. The weight of these 3 words was too great. It was enough to shake the entire Chaos realm. After all, after the battle of the ancient gods, no primal Chaos Supreme had appeared in the Chaos realm. As for supreme weapons, they had appeared occasionally, but they were all incomplete. Moreover, even if a supreme weapon appeared, no one would be able to control it. But now, Fang Chen could completely control a supreme weapon. This was definitely an earthquake. Not only was Xiao Mu shocked, but even Lord Qing couldn't help but sigh. He couldn't see through Fang Chen anymore. The latter's growth experience was too legendary. TMPH, so what if you have a supreme weapon? Soon, Xiao Mu regained his composure, and his father's words echoed in his mind. The Chaos Realm had long been incomplete, and the primal Chaos Supreme had disappeared. Supreme techniques and supreme weapons were even more difficult to find. My sacred artifact was born in the origin world and raised with the blood of the Demon Devourer clan. It can resist your supreme weapon, Xiao Mu said coldly. He regained his confidence and held the sacred artifact in his hand. The Demon Devourer bloodline in his body circulated. Although the copper bowl gave him a heavy feeling, he felt that it was very likely to be a fake supreme weapon. He didn't believe that a complete supreme weapon could appear in such a dilapidated land of sinners. The sacred artifact suppresses the heavens, and all things die. Xiao Mu made his move. He didn't want to give Fang Chen any chance. With a leap, his figure flickered and disappeared into the void. At the same time, Fang Chen held the copper bowl in one hand and the reincarnation blade in the other. He released a powerful divine sense to sense the world. Rip! Suddenly, a bright golden light appeared behind Fang Chen. Be careful! Lord Qing shouted. However, Fang Chen seemed to have already known. He didn't even turn his head and directly grabbed the copper bowl. I've been waiting for you, Fang Chen said. His primordial spirit had reached the nascent soul level. In the entire Chaos Realm, no one could hide their aura under his nose, not even the Demon Devourer clan from the origin world. He deliberately revealed a flaw and let Xiao Mu make his move. As expected, Xiao Mu fell for it. The copper bowl directly enveloped the bright golden light. Devour devil and heaven. Xiao Mu roared as he activated the holy artifact with all his might. However, he was shocked to find that the sacred artifact was gradually losing its connection with him. No! Xiao Mu shook his head frantically as his demon-devouring bloodline began to circulate. However, it was useless. The copper bowl was a supreme weapon, and it had the support of a perfect bloodline, so it could easily crush holy objects. Rip! After the last connection was severed, the sacred object was instantly suppressed by the copper bowl. Dong dong dong! In the void, the copper bowl pressed down as if it could cover heaven and earth. A deafening sound came from inside. This was the sound of a holy object crashing down. Without the holy object, you are nothing. Fang Chen turned his head and looked at Xiao Mu. The sacred item was bestowed by my father. It has my father's mark. How can a mere copper bowl suppress it? Xiao Mu felt the impact of the holy object and came back to his senses. He stared fiercely at Fang Chen. When the holy artifact breaks through the suppression, you will die for sure. Fang Chen shrugged. You'll have to have the opportunity to wait until then. After saying that, Fang Chen smiled playfully. He swung the reincarnation blade and attacked Xiao Mu crazily. With his current strength, his nascent soul stage primordial spirit, the reincarnation blade, and the legendary paragon technique, Xiao Mu was no match for him. Crack! In just a few rounds, one of Xiao Mu's arms was cut by the reincarnation blade. He quickly retreated, his arm hanging down and blood dripping. Damn it! Xiao Mu was furious. It's all because of you. His plan was all ruined by this guy in front of him. I want you dead. Xiao Mu roared angrily and engaged in a chaotic battle with Fang Chen. Indeed, as Fang Chen said, Xiao Mu without the holy artifact was like an ant in front of him. Slash. Slash after slash landed on Xiao Mu's body, the latter screamed miserably. Finally, Xiao Mu couldn't take it anymore. He burned his essence blood and used the innate ability of the devouring devil clan. Whoosh. However, just as the innate ability was formed, it was scattered by Fang Chen's blade. How is this possible? Xiao Mu's eyes lost focus. He had suffered a critical hit. Let's go. Xiao Mu was scared and didn't want to continue fighting. You want to leave? Fang Chen chased after him with the reincarnation blade. He immediately used the heaven-cleaving alchemy technique. The sky was filled with blade light and sword shadows, crisscrossing with amazing power. Crack! However, when the reincarnation blade pierced Xiao Mu's head, a talisman instantly shattered. A substitute talisman? Fang Chen was a little surprised. He looked at Xiao Mu again. After using the substitute talisman, he had already fled far away. It's useless. You can't escape. Fang Chen chased after him. The demonic fire domain was completely sealed, so Xiao Mu couldn't escape. Soon, Fang Chen caught up to him. Under the violent attacks of the reincarnation blade, he was on the verge of death. At this moment, a peerless aura emerged from his body. This is a half-step chaotic supremacy. Fang Chen was stunned. The terrifying aura condensed into an illusory figure in front of Xiao Mu. Sinners, how dare you try to kill my son? This person was Xiao Mu's father, Xiaoyaro Hu. Old man, you allowed your son to mercilessly slaughter the races of the chaotic realm. Now that your son is like this, you only have yourself to blame. Fang Chen was fearless. You're courting death. Duke Xiaoyaro was infuriated, but he did not make a move. Seeing that you have unparalleled potential, if you become my son's servant and escort him back to the chaos battlefield, I can guarantee your lineage a lifetime of peace. Fang Chen snorted coldly. The illusory figure in front of him was only condensed from the mark that Xiaoyaro Hu left on Xiao Mu. Compared to the original body, it was far inferior. Besides, his original body was in the chaotic battlefield and couldn't come out. In your dreams. Fang Chen directly refused. Your son is dead. Father, save me. Xiao Mu cried. The sacred object was suppressed, so there was no way he could escape. Don't worry. I won't let you die. Xiaoyaro Hu said in a deep voice. He raised his eyes and looked at the copper bowl in the distance. No wonder it can suppress the sacred object. It turns out that there's a supreme weapon. However, you sinners want to use the full power of the supreme weapon? As he spoke, Xiaoyaro Hu slammed his palm forward. Suddenly, an earth-shattering force roared and bombarded the copper bowl. Dong! The copper bowl was hit by a strong impact and it shook. At the same time, the sacred object suppressed inside responded to Xiaoyaro Hu and attacked wildly. Fang Chen frowned. Xiaoyaro Hu wanted to cooperate with the outside to break the seal of the copper bowl? But didn't he underestimate the power of the supreme weapon too much? He knew that it was a supreme weapon. Why did he still do this? Did he have a special method? Buzz! The copper bowl shook and emitted a strong halo. In an instant, it cut the demonic sky-fire domain into pieces. Some of the weaker warriors couldn't escape in time and were directly killed. Not good. Fang Chen cursed inwardly as he sensed the movements of the copper bowl. Suppress it. However, at this moment. Chapter 36:30. The blood essence of the demon-devouring clan covered the copper bowl. This drop of blood essence was different from Xiao Mu's. It was Xiao Yarou whose blood essence and was extremely powerful. Buzz! The copper bowl shook, but it could not shake off the blood essence covering it. This caused the copper bowl to be in a very unstable state. Boom! Inside the copper bowl, the holy artifact was also attacking. It worked from the inside and overturned the copper bowl. Whoosh! After the holy artifact broke free from the copper bowl's control, it flew back to Xiao Mu's hand. Father, I'm going to kill him. Xiao Mu's eyes were scarlet, and he bared his teeth. He wanted to kill Fang Chen with his own hands. Go, I'll hold the fort for you. Although it was only a mark, Xiao Yarou who was from the demon-devouring clan and had powerful means. His appearance directly turned the situation around. Seeing this, Qing Jun naturally could not sit still. Old man, I'll deal with you. With that, Qing Jun leaped and came in front of Xiao Yarou who, striking out with his palm. Crack! Xiao Yarou whose illusory body dissipated and condensed again. HMPH, a half-step chaotic supremacy from the land of the sinners? Xiao Yarou whose face was full of disdain. The Chaos Realm and the Origin Realm were two completely different places. It was no exaggeration to say that a half-step chaotic supremacy in the Chaos Realm was nothing in the Origin Realm. They could not even defeat an invincible saint. This was because the Chaos Realm's heavenly path was damaged and 2/3 of its fate was taken away, which affected everyone's cultivation. It could be said that the cultivation foundation of the Chaos Realm's people was too weak. At the same level, the demon-devouring clan of the Origin Realm could sweep through the Chaos Realm. Therefore, even if it was only a mark, Xiao Yarou who was full of disdain for Qing Jun died. Xiao Yarou who used the demon-devouring clan's technique and forced Qing Jun back with a palm. Fury of the heavens. Qing Jun and Xiao Yarou who were tangled in a chaotic battle. On the other side, Xiao Mu regained his confidence after taking back the holy artifact. He launched a crazy attack on Fang Chen. Even if you have the holy artifact, you will die without a doubt. Xiao Mu used the sky-severing alchemy technique, one move after another. He could only rely on the holy artifact to block it. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fang Chen's body kept changing directions as he secretly set up the formation foundations. Die. Xiao Mu seemed to have sensed something, but it was too late. At this moment, Fang Chen was floating in the air. He raised his arm and in an instant, a terrifying aura gathered on his body from all directions. 108 formation bases were formed in an instant. They then soared into the sky and intertwined with one another. The formation was complete. This is. Xiao Mu panicked when he saw the array. This was because he realized that the demon-devouring bloodline was actually being restrained by the formation. Without the help of the demon-devouring bloodline, his strength would be greatly reduced. This was the biggest disadvantage of the demon-devouring clan. Hiss hiss hiss. In the blink of an eye, the demon-devouring bloodline was completely suppressed. Xiao Mu gritted his teeth and dripped a drop of blood onto the holy artifact, forcefully activating the holy artifact to its maximum power. However, it was to no avail. This array was called the Bloodline Sacrificial Array. It was a spell formation that the Grand Monarch had passed down to Fang Chen. It was based on his perfect bloodline and the research of the myriad races in the universe. This array was the best choice to deal with the demon-devouring clan. Of course, the Bloodline Sacrificial Array could restrain the demon-devouring bloodline. On the other hand, the demon-devouring bloodline could also restrain the perfect bloodline in the Bloodline Sacrificial Array. However, the array was led by Fang Chen, so he was less affected. Before Xiao Mu could react, Fang Chen charged over with the reincarnation blade in his hand. With this strike, he was aiming to inflict injuries on both sides. After all, he had a death substitute talisman while Xiao Mu did not. No! In a flash, the situation was reversed and Xiao Mu was suppressed. Duke Xiaoyaro, who was fighting, also noticed this scene. Mu-er! He roared, wanting to get rid of Lord Qing and rescue his son. Your opponent is me. Lord Qing entangled him and took advantage of his unpreparedness to severely injure him with a palm. Crack! Duke Xiaoyao's mark gradually began to dissipate. Father, save me! Xiao Mu screamed miserably. Fang Chen did not even use the death substitute talisman and seriously injured him with one strike. Crack! Xiao Mu's arms fell to the ground. His cultivation was crippled by Fang Chen. Sinners, how dare you kill my son? You will regret it. Before Duke Xiaoyao's mark dissipated, he issued an angry threat. Boom! Lord Qing's punch completely defeated him. Heaven and earth returned to normal. Only Xiao Mu, who was in the bloodline sacrificial array, was struggling to hold on. The sacred artifact blocked most of the damage for him, but he was still not spared. Poochie! Another slash landed on his forehead. In an instant, his head was smashed. His primordial spirit wanted to escape. Die! Fang Chen ended Xiao Mu's life with one strike. Buzz! The bloodline sacrificial array collapsed, and the demonic Skyfire domain was silent. Everyone looked at Fang Chen in a daze. It was too shocking. He saved the entire God-Fall battlefield with his own strength. At this moment, Fang Chen was undoubtedly the hero of all clans in the heavens. And what he played was the hero's return. We won. Some people still couldn't believe it and muttered in a low voice. Ha ha ha, we won. We stopped the outbreak of the God-Fall battlefield. After a moment of silence, thunderous applause and excited laughter erupted in the demonic Skyfire domain. The black and white elders were gratified. Lord Qing walked over and patted Fang Chen's shoulder. It's over. The threat that had affected the God-Fall battlefield for 100 years had finally been completely eliminated. Everyone was shouting Fang Chen's name. Fang Chen, thank you. Nether Ghost Lord walked over and cupped his fists. It's my duty, Fang Chen said with a smile. What happened in the demonic Skyfire domain quickly spread throughout the God-Fall battlefield. Everyone was praising Fang Chen's merits. And as the protagonist, he was healing in the Holy Ji Palace. How are you? Lord Qing asked. Much better, Fang Chen said. Now the entire God-Fall battlefield sees you as their savior. Lord Qing briefly explained the situation outside, as well as the forces and cultivators who betrayed the God-Fall alliance. They were all executed by the Holy Ji Palace cultivators led by the Black and White Elders. The God-Fall battlefield was completely peaceful again. A few days later, Fang Chen's injuries were healed. Everything was done and the God-Fall battlefield was peaceful again. He was ready to go back to the ancient chaos to take a look. After all, he was going to reincarnate and restart his cultivation to deal with the upcoming catastrophe of the world. He didn't know when he would return. Lord Qing and the Holy Ji Palace cultivators were guarding the God-Fall battlefield. Nothing would go wrong. He set off and returned to the ancient chaos. Every corner of the God-Fall battlefield was talking about Fang Chen, the miraculous cultivator. At the same time, everyone was united against a common enemy and found all the remnants of the no-demon cult. As for the forces that betrayed the God-Fall alliance and joined Xiao Mu, they all collapsed. All the clans applauded and the God-Fall battlefield was back on track. All of this was thanks to one person. Chapter 36-31. Buzz. Fang Chen crushed the token in his hand, and suddenly a strange aura shrouded his whole body. The next moment, he felt the world was spinning, and he was a little dizzy. When he stabilized his body, he suddenly found that he had returned to the abyss of god corpses. Phew! A familiar smell, a familiar aura. Fang Chen opened his arms and felt the breeze blowing on his face. In his mind, the scene of the first time he came to the abyss of god corpses appeared. Back then, when he first entered the battlefield of God-Fall, it was the good fortune of Blood Cavalry Saint that allowed him to go further on the path of cultivation. However, he also did not expect that in the future, he would shoulder the burden of thousands of races in the world. Splash! He walked into the abyss of god corpses. Because of the mark left by Blood Cavalry Saint in his body, There was no obstruction in the abyss of god corpses, and he soon came to the deepest part. Back then, he was only one step away from getting the last inheritance. Now, he was here. Young friend, you are finally here. A picture appeared in front of his eyes. This was the will left by Blood Cavalry Saint, not his original body. Since you can come here, it means that you have comprehended 3 kinds of origins, and your strength should be considered extremely strong among the saints. Blood Cavalry Saints will continued. Splash. Suddenly, the picture went dark. Then, screams came. This was a battlefield, and the sky was filled with smoke. Countless cavalry trampled on the old, weak, sick, and disabled, with a sinister sneer on their faces, mercilessly slaughtering. Star Knights. Fang Chen clenched his fists, and anger rose. He could imagine that when the Star Knights slaughtered the old, weak, sick, and disabled, it must be Blood Cavalry Saint who tried his best to stop them. Dawn. The picture came to an abrupt end, and the battlefield was still filled with smoke, but the cavalry had left. They left with high smiles and monstrous killing intent. What was left were white bones. There was also resentment that could not be dissipated since ancient times. I am not afraid of the Star Knights one-on-one, but they have a terrifying joint attack formation. Once combined, they can burst out the power of a half-step chaotic supreme. Blood Cavalry Saint said. Back then, he was besieged by the Star Knights and ended up like this. Although you have become a saint, it will be difficult to destroy the Star Knights. Voila! The Blood Cavalry Saint waved his hand, and a huge blood lion suddenly rushed out of the picture. This blood lion was my mount in the past. It has the power of an invincible saint and is extremely fast. If you ride it, even the starry sky knights can't catch up with you. Whoosh! The Blood Cavalry Saint pointed his finger and sent the imprint into Fang Chen's mind. The next moment, the blood lion roared and walked in front of Fang Chen, becoming docile. The blood lion was severely injured. It needs the Tianji Saint blood pill to heal. Fang Chen nodded. Unexpectedly, what the Blood Cavalry Saint left for him was actually a blood lion. That's true. If he had developed according to the normal path, it was impossible for him to have such fighting strength. The blood lion left behind by the Blood Cavalry Saint could definitely become a great trump card. Now, he finally understood what the Blood Cavalry Saint meant. He was worried that he would be too impulsive and fall into the Star Knight's encirclement. Therefore, he gave the blood lion to him. Soon after Fang Chen left, the abyss of gods' corpses completely collapsed and disappeared from the world. The blood lion looked back reluctantly and finally left with Fang Chen. The Tianji Saint blood pill was an extremely high-grade pill. In the entire Godfall battlefield, the only one who could refine this pill was the Dao Palace's second senior brother, the Tianji Pill King. Fang Chen sent a message and contacted his second senior brother. The latter happened to be picking spiritual herbs in a nearby mountain range. Half a month later, Fang Chen saw his second senior brother. At a glance, the person in front of him was short and small. It was a bloated little fatty. Second senior brother? Fang Chen was stunned. He didn't expect the world-famous Tianji Pill King to be a little fatty. The fatty revealed a smile. You are junior brother Fang? He had also heard of Fang Chen's deeds and was very respectful to this little junior brother. I can refine the Tianji Saint blood pill. I also have the required materials with me. Wait for me for a few days. The Tianji Pill King didn't say anything and directly started refining. During this process, Fang Chen also didn't waste time comprehending the sky-severing alchemy technique. As a supreme technique, it wasn't as simple as it seemed on the surface. The stronger he was, the more Fang Chen felt the terror of the sky-severing alchemy technique. Time passed. A few days later, a blood-red aura soared into the sky. This was a heaven and earth phenomenon. The higher the grade of the pill, the greater the heaven and earth phenomenon when the pill was formed. Whoosh! The Tianji Pill King took out 3 blood-red pills and handed them to Fang Chen. Junior brother Fang, I've only refined 3 pills this time. Seeing the sweat on the Tianji Pill King's forehead, Fang Chen hurriedly said, Thank you for your hard work, second senior brother. This mount of yours has an extremely strong bloodline. It might be a divine beast from ancient times. 1 Tianji Saint blood pill might not be enough, so I refined 3. Hurry up and let it eat. The blood lion's eyes widened when it saw the Tianji Saint blood pill. It wanted to eat them all in one go, but was stopped by Fang Chen. One at a time. The power contained in the Tianji Saint blood pill was too strong. Ordinary 9th rank saints would explode if they ate it carelessly. However, the blood lion's bloodline was special. In a short while, it completely digested the Tianji Saint blood pill. Its injuries were obviously getting better. Just like that, it swallowed another pill. He quickly absorbed the effects of the medicine, and his injuries were basically healed. I feel like I'm about to break through, the blood lion said as it swallowed the last Tianji Saint blood pill. Rumble. A deafening sound came from its body. Its blood-red fur became even redder. It roared at the sky as its strength rose. Dong. With a casual swipe of its large claws, it crushed a piece of empty land. Junior brother Fang, your mount is amazing. The Tianji Pill King was shocked. He had cultivated in the Dao Palace for countless years and had never seen such a heaven-defying beast. He was especially shocked when he felt the blood lion's overbearing bloodline. This guy. Fang Chen was speechless. As expected of a mount cultivated by the blood cavalry sage. Thinking about it, its bloodline should have been improved by the blood cavalry sage. Boom. After a long while, the blood lion stopped rolling. The entire mountain range was turned into ruins. The blood lion got up, full of energy. Thank you, master. Not only have my injuries healed, but my strength has also greatly increased. Fang Chen's eyes lit up. At its peak, the blood lion's strength was comparable to an invincible saint. Now that it had swallowed the Tianji Saint blood pill, its strength had greatly increased. Junior brother Fang, where are you going next? The Tianji Pill King asked. Thank you for the pill, second senior brother. This is a small token of my appreciation. Fang Chen handed a Sumeru ring to the Tianji Pill King. The latter took it and was instantly stunned. The Sumeru ring was filled with rare spirit herbs of heaven and earth. These were all dreams of alchemists. This. Chapter 36-32. After bidding farewell to the Pill King, Fang Chen returned to the primordial chaos. What a familiar feeling. Fang Chen opened his hands and felt the sea breeze blowing against his face. He immediately entered the forbidden land at the bottom of the sea. The altar was still there, but the offerings on it seemed to be somewhat incomplete. Buzz. The moment he appeared, the altar began to shake, and black cracks appeared on its surface. In the blink of an eye, the altar turned into ruins. In the ruins, there was a terrifying spatial storm vortex that swallowed all the offerings. Whoosh! A wisp of imprint drilled into Fang Chen's mind. This was the ultimate chant of the sky-severing alchemy art. At the same time, a voice sounded in Fang Chen's ears. I've finally waited for you. This sentence was said to Fang Chen. Bloodsword Prime was once a supreme expert of the primordial chaos realm, a supreme existence in the primordial chaos realm. However, he died in the battle against the devouring demon clan. I hope you can succeed. Bloodsword Prime said. His last wisp of consciousness turned into a file in Fang Chen's mind. Inside the dossier, there were densely packed records of Sword Dao. This was Bloodsword Prime's understanding of the Sword Dao. This. Fang Chen was completely dumbfounded. The Bloodsword Supreme's understanding of the Sword Dao recorded in the dossier was simply extraordinary. With just a glance, Fang Chen felt his heart beat faster. The bottleneck that had been troubling him was very likely to break through. Buzz. The altar completely shattered, the ruins completely disappeared, and the sea returned to calm. However, countless figures appeared on the surface of the sea. The fluctuation just now came from here. Qing Hu said in a deep voice. He was now one of the strongest existences in the primordial chaos, known as the puppet ancestor. This meant that the Tao of puppetry was unprecedented, and no one could compare with it. Indeed, his puppet Tao was something that even other peak experts would be wary of. Not far from him were the former experts of the primordial chaos. Before Lord Fang left, he said that this place is very dangerous and told us not to get close, someone said. Could it be, a strange creature is attacking? Suddenly, The others' expressions changed. I'll send the puppets down to take a look. Ching Hu flicked his finger, and one of the puppets sank to the bottom of the sea. A moment later, there was no movement from the puppet. Crack! Ching Hu's body shook, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. How is this possible? He cried out involuntarily with a shocked expression. Just a moment ago, he had lost contact with the Monarch Realm puppet. Puppet ancestor, what happened? Someone forcefully severed the connection between me and the puppet. Ching Hu said in a low voice. What? Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Everyone present was a top expert in the immemorial chaos. They bore the heavy responsibility of protecting the immemorial chaos. Especially after Fang Chen left, there would occasionally be experts from the battlefield of Godsfall entering through the spatial turbulence. But in the end, they were all suppressed by them. But now, there was someone who could forcefully destroy the puppet ancestors' puppets. That person was definitely an emperor. Let's try again. Ching Hu said. Voila. However, at this moment, a water column soared into the sky, and a vast power swept across the entire sea. There was even a dragon's roar. Ching Hu and the others were on guard. Brother Ching Hu, how have you been? Suddenly, a familiar voice could be heard from the water pillar. This is Ching Hu's eyes widened in disbelief. Fang Chen? The water column dissipated, and Fang Chen stood there, smiling without saying a word. It's Lord Fang. Lord Fang is back. Everyone was shocked and excited. Ching Hu rushed over and hugged Fang Chen. The brotherhood was at this moment. After a long time, everyone came back to their senses. Brother Fang, how come you have time to come back? Ching Hu asked. I came back to take a look. They wouldn't do anything about the reincarnation road, so he just skipped it. Come, let's go back. Soon, the news of Fang Chen's return spread throughout the ancient chaos. Everyone was celebrating, and everyone was shouting Fang Chen's name. He deserved to be the leader of the human race. Sacred land. Fang Chen held Star and Moon's hand, walked on the path of flowing light, and finally sat on the bronze throne. Xing Yu, on the other hand, was sitting beside him. Welcome, Lord Leader. Ching Hu and the others were below, leading all the cultivators in the ancient chaos to kneel down. Get up. Fang Chen waved his hand, and an invisible force lifted everyone up. A grand banquet was about to begin. Fang Chen was the absolute protagonist of the banquet. Moonlit night. A cool breeze blew. Fang Chen held Star and Moon's slender waist and stood on the top of a mountain. Brother Chen. Star and Moon buried her head in Fang Chen's arms and said softly, You've worked hard all these years. The Godsfall battlefield was far too dangerous. Thus, Fang Chen ventured alone. Xing Yu and the others were arranged to stay in the primordial chaos. This place was relatively safer. Star and Moon sat side by side with Fang Chen and told him what had happened over the years. When Fang Chen left, the ancient chaos wasn't peaceful. Evil creatures appeared, causing the entire ancient chaos to be in chaos. The old faker took a few brothers to suppress them. In the end, they were defeated, and some even died. But in the end, they suppressed the evil creatures with the means left by Fang Chen. After Fang Chen learned the news, he used a heaven-defying method to resurrect Little Mouse and the others. The 5 brothers were very excited when they gathered. The old faker was beside them, talking like a charlatan. For Fang Chen, it was easy to resurrect warriors below the yin-yang origin realm. Moreover, in the ancient chaos, he was one with the heavens and the earth, and his words were the law. Most importantly, he had obtained the inheritance of the Blood Sword Supreme. The ancient chaos was created by the Blood Sword Supreme. Therefore, he could easily resurrect those brothers and friends who had fought side by side. Boss, you're amazing. Little Mouse shouted excitedly. Xiao Huang, Xiao Hai, and Pangolin were also looking forward to it. It's a pity that we're too weak and can't fight with you, Xiao Huang said. We're in the ancient chaos to protect sister-in-law, Shi-Er, and the others. We're helping you by eliminating your worries. The old faker was talking mysteriously. This is for you. Fang Chen handed a few Sumeru rings to the brothers. What was stored here were all rare cultivation materials. With these cultivation materials, the brothers could at least break through to the yin-yang origin realm. As for whether they could comprehend the origin and step into the five-element sacred realm, it depended on their own luck. In fact, with Fang Chen's means, he could forcibly improve their strength. But Fang Chen didn't spoil their growth. Instead, he guided them to cultivate on their own. The banquet had been going on for more than a month. But as the main character, Fang Chen, had already left. Over the past month, he had spent time with his brothers, his 3 children, and his wife. On this day, Qing Hu hurried over. Brother Fang, there are 2 people outside the sacred ground. Fang Chen scanned with his divine sense and found them. Chapter 36-33. Her green robe fluttered in the wind, and there was a hint of coldness on her peerless face. However, the moment she saw Fang Chen, she melted like an iceberg and revealed a sweet smile. She was Bai Qingqing. She had once fought side by side with Fang Chen in the universe. Back then, she was still the daughter of the Bai family on Qingyi Island, and Fang Chen was just an itinerant cultivator. Now, things had changed. However, Bai Qingqing's love for Fang Chen had never changed. "You're back." Bai Qingqing's red lips parted slightly. On the other side was a woman in a yellow dress with a different personality. She was once the princess of Scar Island. She had given up her status as a princess and had been following Fang Chen. Fang Chen also understood what she meant. However, he already had a wife and didn't want to hold them back. He didn't expect that after hundreds of years, they were still like this. Alas! Fang Chen sighed. "How have you been?" Fang Chen squeezed out a smile and said. The atmosphere was slightly awkward. The old faker and the others had already left, and so had Qing Hu. There were only 3 people in the courtyard, looking at each other. "How have you been these years?" Finally, Fang Chen couldn't help but break the silence and ask. Bai Qingqing shook her head. In order to follow in Fang Chen's footsteps, she cultivated crazily and almost lost her life several times. Missing is a kind of illness. Princess Xin was more direct and expressed her longing. "You've worked hard." Fang Chen sighed. He settled the 2 of them in the sacred ground and then gave them a lot of cultivation resources. Moreover, he personally guided them in their cultivation. Now Fang Chen was comparable to an invincible sage, and his understanding of martial arts had reached the peak. With Fang Chen's guidance, the 2 of them improved rapidly. Soon, they broke through the shackles and reached the yin-yang essence realm. In the past few days, Star and Moon also tacitly agreed. She had always thought that as long as her husband loved her, it was enough. Even as a woman, she pitied Bai Qingqing and Princess Xin and wanted to matchmake them. However, her husband insisted. Wang. On this day, a silent fluctuation suddenly attracted Fang Chen's attention. What happened? Fang Chen frowned. His powerful consciousness spread out and covered every corner of the primordial chaos. Azura universe. Fang Chen's expression changed greatly. He leaped into the black hole. "You take care of the 2 of them. I have to go out for a while." Rip. The void was torn apart, and Fang Chen appeared at the edge of the ancient sacred primal chaos. Here, starlight flickered. 2 planets were slowly rotating. One of them was bright, whereas the other one was somewhat dim. Even its vitality was fading away. "Humph, you dare to touch my Azura universe." Fang Chen snorted coldly and rushed into the Azura universe. This universe was created by him. In this universe, he was the heavenly Tao. As soon as he entered the firmament, he saw 2 evil cultivators devouring cultivators in a mine in the firmament. This is... Fang Chen was stunned. Star Knights. Originally, he planned to settle down in the primordial chaos and meet with his family and friends. Then, he would go to the Star Knights' lair and kill them all. He didn't expect them to sneak into the primordial chaos. In the mine, countless firmament cultivators were furious. "You demons, Lord Leader won't let you go." That's right. The Azura universe was created by Lord Leader. Every movement here can't escape his eyes. "You're dead." However, facing the cultivators of the firmament, the 2 Star Knights sneered. "Stupid guys, You're about to die, and you still dare to threaten us. Rip. The bloated Star Knight swallowed a firmament cultivator in one bite. Third brother, although the strength of this universe is relatively low, it contains countless essences. If we can devour all the cultivators in this universe, we will definitely recover our peak cultivation. We, the Star Knights, will be reborn soon. Wang. Suddenly, the void stopped. The two of them noticed that something was amiss. Raising their heads, they saw a silhouette that had appeared out of nowhere. Who are you? The bloated Star Knight asked in a deep voice. The other person was ready for battle. Lord Leader. Lord Leader is here to save us. The cultivators of the firmament were very excited. You're the Lord Leader they're talking about? Fang Chen stared at the two. Star Knights, how dare you enter my universe? The two Star Knights were a little surprised. Since you've heard of us, the Star Knights, you should know how powerful we are. Be good and surrender, or I'll cut off your head. Fang Chen waved his hand, and the trapped cultivators of the firmament were all rescued. You guys leave first. He sent the cultivators of the firmament out of the mine. Outside the mine, the peak cultivators of the firmament gathered. They were very nervous. Will Lord Leader be okay? Damn those Star Knights. Rumble. A deafening sound echoed in the sky. Just as the cultivators of the firmament were nervous, Fang Chen walked out. Lord Leader. Everyone knelt down. I've killed the Star Knights. The crisis has been resolved. Fang Chen said. From now on, no one is allowed to approach this mine. The blood of the Star Knights stained the mine. Although Fang Chen had completely refined them, it was inevitable that there would be some residual blood. The 5 elements sacred realm cultivators were fearless, but they were too weak for the cultivators of the firmament. Once they came into contact with the residual blood, their souls would instantly dissipate. On this day, the Shura universe celebrated with the heavens. And this mine was listed as the #1 forbidden area. Even after many years, the legend of the Lord Leader was still circulating. After leaving the Shura universe, Fang Chen returned to the Milky Way universe and met many acquaintances. There were old friends from the Skybone Palace and some acquaintances from Green Bamboo Island. After that, he went to every corner of the primordial chaos to check the aura of the Star Knights. In the end, he confirmed that there were no more Star Knights in the primordial chaos. Then, he used a heaven-defying method to set up a formation around the primordial chaos. This formation merged with heaven and earth and used the incomplete heavenly path as the core of the formation. After the formation was completed, no one could break it unless they had the combat strength of an invincible saint. In this way, Fang Chen's worries were completely eliminated. The primordial chaos was like an iron bucket, and after accompanying his wife and daughter for several days, he was finally going to set off. You can guard my hometown here for me, Fang Chen said. The blood lion shook its huge head and said, Master, don't worry. With me here, unless the primordial chaos supreme comes in person. The blood lion was very strong. With it around, Fang Chen was relieved. Standing on top of the clouds, he looked down at the earth. A ripple appeared in Fang Chen's heart. One day, the primordial chaos realm will return to before it was destroyed. At that time, the world will be peaceful and there will be no more wars. Fang Chen thought. Chapter 36-34. God's Fall Battlefield. The northwest was where the entrance to the Chaos Battlefield used to be. This area was called the Life Forbidden Zone. Very few people dared to come here. Once a 5-element saint stepped in, they would definitely die. Unless they were invincible saints. However, today, Fang Chen came to the Life Forbidden Zone as soon as he returned to the God's Fall Battlefield. Are you hiding here? Fang Chen sneered. Standing outside the Life Forbidden Zone, he locked onto it with his powerful divine sense. The Star Knights were full of evil. Although they weren't from the devouring demon clan, they were worse than them. Back then, they killed the old, the weak, and the sick, wantonly destroyed the God's Fall battlefield in an attempt to suppress the thousands of races in the universe. The heaven-defying Alliance Master, the Blood Cavalry Saint, and other powerhouses worked together to force them back. However, they also paid a heavy price because of this. Whoosh! Fang Chen pulled out the hidden star sword and slashed out. Crack! A thick sword light, carrying endless sword Dao aura, slashed above the life-forbidden zone. In an instant, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled above the life-forbidden zone. A spatial storm emerged and the whole world became dark. Who dares to attack the Star Knights? An ancient and melodious voice came from the spatial storm. Whoosh! 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 Several old men rode dragons and soared into the sky, jointly suppressing the spatial storm. At the same time, they attacked together and shattered the thick sword light. Who are you? At this time, they found Fang Chen. They were shocked. The other party was in front of them, but they couldn't sense him with their divine sense. They could only see him with their naked eyes. What was going on? Star Knights should all die, Fang Chen said coldly. In his mind, the mountains of corpses and seas of blood he saw in the abyss of god corpses appeared. That was the resentment of everyone. Kid, you are courting death. Provoking a Star Knight would result in 9 deaths. Kill. The old man in cyan rode the dragon and attacked Fang Chen. Roar. The dragon roared angrily, opened its bloody mouth and spat out dragon breath, trying to kill Fang Chen. You are just a fake dragon. How dare you be fierce in front of me? With the heaven-slashing alchemy technique, Fang Chen stabbed the flood dragon with a single strike. The flood dragon let out a miserable cry. It swayed and fell into the forbidden zone. You dare to kill my mount? Hand over your life. The green-robed old man opened his palm and reached for Fang Chen's head. Die. With one sword, the Star Knight had fallen. What? Seeing this, the other Star Knights were completely stunned. Who did you arrive at? Why have we never heard of your name? Fang Chen strolled over in midair. Who I am is not important. What is important is that you have dealt with the Blood Cavalry Saint before. You are one of Blood Cavalry Saint's men? Hearing this, their expressions changed drastically. Voila! Fang Chen was too strong, and they were no match for him. They pretended to attack, but in reality, they were running away. In an instant, the Star Knight escaped into the forbidden zone of life. It's too powerful. Only our leader would be able to kill it. The leader of the Star Knights, the mastermind behind the scenes, had reached the level of an invincible saint. All these years, they had been hiding in the forbidden zone of life. Leader, something bad has happened. Crack. Before they finished speaking, the 2 Star Knights were struck by a sword light and died on the spot. Fang Chen stepped out and entered the forbidden zone of life. Buzz. A terrifying divine sense spread out, and the monsters retreated one after another. He used the ruler of heaven and earth and soon came to the depths of the forbidden zone of life. With Fang Chen's current strength, it was difficult to find an opponent on the battlefield of Godfall. Who is it that hunted my Star Knights? A vicissitude and simple voice came from the depths of the forbidden zone of life. Whoosh. The response was still a sword. This sword contained the will of a supreme. With one sword, ghosts and gods were shocked. The huge forbidden zone of life was almost split in half. You're courting death. The leader of the Star Knights rose into the air and fought with Fang Chen. Heaven-defying alliance, Dao Palace. Lord Qing, the Black and White Elders, and the Lord of Netherghost were discussing something. All of a sudden, he felt the world shake. It's Fang Chen. They rose into the air one after another and looked up. Through layers of space, they saw Fang Chen slaughtering in the forbidden zone of life. That's a Star Knight. The notorious Star Knight was like a rat crossing the street. Everyone had the right to kill him. I didn't expect that the Star Knight had been struggling to survive, Lord Qing said. The Black and White Elders were a little worried about Fang Chen. Fang Chen is not a reckless person. Since he dares to go alone, it means that he has full confidence. In the forbidden zone of life. In the beginning, the leader of the Star Knights could still fight with Fang Chen. However, as time passed, all the methods he used were blocked by Fang Chen one by one. And Fang Chen had just begun to attack. Poochie. Sword after sword landed on his body, causing him to be covered in wounds. How is this possible? How can he be so strong? The leader of the Star Knights guessed that Fang Chen should be a reincarnated powerhouse from ancient times or the chaotic ancient times. Where there's life, there's hope. He thought for a moment and decided not to continue arguing with Fang Chen. Whoosh! He rushed into the core of the forbidden zone of life. You can't escape. Fang Chen slashed out with his sword, cutting off his escape route. At the same time, the samsara knife slashed out. Ah! No! After being hit by the samsara knife, the leader of the Star Knights screamed in agony. Lord Qing and the others were all trembling. He's too strong. Fang Chen was chasing after the leader of the Star Knights. What on earth did he experience in the reincarnation road? They became more and more curious about the reincarnation road. Crack! After Fang Chen released his nascent soul-level primordial spirit, he directly crushed the primordial spirit of the leader of the Star Knights. The latter was bleeding from his 7 orifices and was covered in wounds. No. He was unwilling to give up. He had been dormant for countless years, but in the end, he died tragically in the hands of Fang Chen. However, Fang Chen didn't give him a chance. He killed him with one sword move. The Star Knights are eternal. Before dying, the leader of the Star Knights roared angrily. Crack! His primordial spirit was completely annihilated, and his physical body was also burned. The notorious Star Knights had completely become history, and Fang Chen had fulfilled his promise to avenge the Blood Cavalry Saint. Just as he was about to leave, the hidden star sword suddenly trembled slightly. What's going on? He felt a terrible fluctuation of sword chi at the core of the forbidden zone of life. Could it be the inheritance left by a powerful swordsman? His swordsmanship had reached a bottleneck, and he needed an opportunity to go further. This time, he felt the fluctuation of sword chi. He rushed into the core of the forbidden zone of life without hesitation. Lord Qing and the others grinned. It's so satisfying. In ancient times, the Star Knights were extremely cruel. Today, they are finally annihilated. From now on, the battlefield of Godfall will temporarily enter an era of peace. They also knew that unless the battlefield of chaos was completely pacified, there would still be wars. Of course, for Fang Chen. Next, there were more important things to do. The Source World was the real enemy of the Chaos World. Chapter 36-35. At the core of the Forbidden Zone. This place was filled with vast power as if it had merged with the heavenly Tao. The aura of origin here was also very rich. When Fang Chen sensed the terrifying sword chi fluctuations, he did not hesitate to charge into the core area. There were towering peaks and waterfalls here. In front of the mountain stream, there was a stone tablet that was being hit by the waterfall. Fang Chen's gaze fell on the stone tablet. Buzz! The sword chi in his body instantly erupted and resonated with the stone tablet. Boom! 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 Deafening explosions suddenly came from around the mountain stream. Then, Fang Chen found that the stone tablet shattered and debris flew everywhere. A sword-shaped stone tablet appeared from the shattered stone tablet. As soon as the sword-shaped stone tablet appeared, Fang Chen felt suppressed. This is... Fang Chen took a step forward and came in front of the sword-shaped stone tablet. In an instant, the plunging waterfall became still. At the same time, the surrounding time and space seemed to be imprisoned. Everything was focused on the sword-shaped stone tablet. This is... Seeing the words on the sword-shaped stone, Fang Chen exclaimed. His heart was filled with shock. Supreme Fu Jian. This sword-shaped stone carving was actually left behind by the Primal Chaos Supreme of the Primal Chaos era, Supreme Fu Jian. It's him. Even Supremacy Hun Yi was shocked. He was an expert from the ancient Chaos era and had heard of Supreme Fu Jian. Back then, Supreme Fu Jian mysteriously disappeared. Who would have thought that he would leave a clue here? You're too lucky. Supremacy Hun Yi said. After being baptized by the dark soul cleansing water, Supremacy Hun Yi's bones had shown signs of recovery. And the wisp of remnant consciousness he left behind was even more real. Now, he had been soaking in the dark soul cleansing water collected by Fang Chen. Once the time was right, he would fully recover. Sensing the sword chi fluctuations released by the sword-shaped stone tablet, Supremacy Han Yi was also awakened. You know him? Fang Chen asked. He had only seen him in ancient books, and they were basically simple records. After all, it had been too long since then. No one knew the details of many experts. Of course I do. Venerable Han Yi said. Supreme Fu Jian was a pinnacle powerhouse who had suppressed an era. It was said that he had been one step away from becoming a chaos controller. In the end, it failed for some reason. After that, he went into secluded cultivation. After that, the ancient chaos era gradually collapsed, and the devil-devouring race took advantage of the situation to rise up. The War of Gods erupted, and the ancient chaos era was completely destroyed. At first, everyone thought of Supremacy Fu Jian as the savior of the world. However, Supreme Fu Jian had yet to show up after the Battle of Godfall. How did Autarch Fu Jian die? This was something that Venerable Han Yi was curious about. After hearing Venerable Han Yi's words, Fang Chen's heart was heavy and he was very excited. He had already reached an extremely high level of attainment in Sword Dao. Because of this, he had also fallen into shackles. If he wanted to break through, he needed an opportunity. He believed that the sword-shaped stone carvings Supreme Fu Jian had left behind were exactly what he needed. Whoosh! Fang Chen took a deep breath and looked at the sword-shaped stone engraving with a burning gaze. At this moment, the shards on the stone engraving had all fallen off. Densely packed words appeared on the smooth sword-shaped stone carving. I, Autarch Fu Jian, have cultivated my entire life to reach the peak of Sword Dao. However, I only realized in my later years that I had taken the wrong path. The first sentence from Xiao Chen shocked Fang Chen for some reason. Supreme Fu Jian had devoted his entire life to studying Sword Dao, and he was recognized as the strongest Sword Dao expert in the ancient Chaos era. However, in his later years, he thought that he had taken the wrong path. Then, where was the real path? Fang Chen fell into a daze. In his mind, he recalled the struggles he had gone through over the years. From the small divine wind nation to the outer region, then to the divine world, jumping out of the universe, the ancient Saint Chaos, the Archean Chaos, and finally to the battlefield of Godfall. This was the core of the broken ancient Chaos realm. And his cultivation had naturally broken through to the five elements sacred realm. When the world was first created, yin and yang were divided into two, and the five elements were derived. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that those who could enter the five elements sacred realm were the top elites in the world. Unless they could fuse with the origin and become a supremacy. However, the Sword Dao he walked had always followed his heart. Invincible Sword Dao? He murmured. For a moment, he had doubts about his Sword Dao. Swish! Cold sword light flashed in his eyes. Fang Chen came back to his senses and continued to look at the stone engraving. Be careful. Supremacy Han Yi reminded him. The stone engraving was left by Supreme Fu Jian, and it contained his life Sword Dao comprehension. Anyone who looked at it directly would be attacked by the Sword Dao he had left behind. The weak would die instantly. Only Fang Chen, whose primordial spirit had reached the nascent soul level, could persevere and read the words on the stone engraving. Before I died, I finally understood the truth of the Sword Dao, but Supreme Fu Jian wasn't killed by others, but by himself. He cultivated the Sword Dao so hard that he went mad and died in the end. Fang Chen was filled with respect as he bowed to the sword-shaped stone carving. He was loyal to the Sword Dao. Such an elite was worthy of respect. Senior, I admire your dedication to the Sword Dao. Fang Chen cupped his fists. Senior, I'll help you reach a height that you haven't reached. Crack. The stone engraving suddenly shook, and then an inexplicable mark entered Fang Chen's mind. The next moment, the stone engraving shattered. One could vaguely hear a sigh in the void that lingered for a long time. I hope you can walk the right path and promote the Sword Dao. Fang Chen entered the Sword Dao with the Sword Dao, so there was no doubt about his Sword Dao potential. Fang Chen only released a bit of his aura, and Supreme Fu Jian chose him. Furthermore, he imparted to Fang Chen the experience of his lifetime of bitter cultivation. Fang Chen sat cross-legged and began to comprehend. A few days later, Fang Chen opened his eyes. His gaze was inexplicably firm. My sword Dao is the invincible sword Dao. He used the invincible sword Dao to cut through all the superficial things in the world. Once, when Fang Chen was still insignificant, he had created the invincible sword Dao. However, after entering the five-element sacred realm, the opponents he encountered were very strong, and the invincible sword Dao couldn't satisfy his needs. Therefore, he didn't use it for a long time. Now, he had obtained Supreme Fu Jian's enlightenment. He was more clear about his path. He also saw the flaws of the invincible sword Dao, and he was confident that he could make it perfect. Whoosh! Fang Chen spat out a mouthful of turbid air. Invincible sword Dao. The first thing was the confidence of being invincible. If he didn't even have confidence, how could he be invincible? However, Supremacy Hun Yi didn't think so. Chapter 36-36. There was no absolute invincibility in the world. You should follow Supreme Fujian's will and find the right path. All the experts of the ancient Chaos era were probably influenced by Supreme Crouching Sword. They subconsciously thought Supreme Fujian's path was the strongest and the best path. The other paths were unorthodox and could not be considered elegant. Fang Chen had obtained Supreme Fujian's succession, the sword Dao he had spent his entire life comprehending. However, he was starting to understand his own heart. Supreme Fujian was wrong. So what if he had become the strongest expert in the ancient Chaos era? Wouldn't he be forgotten by the world in the end? His sword Dao wasn't the real sword Dao after all. Fang Chen was a little confused. Even though he was confident when he created the invincible sword Dao, it was completely different from what he was feeling now. Invincible. The word sounded simple, but it was actually very difficult to achieve. Since ancient times, how many geniuses had been trapped by these two words? Supreme Fujian was no exception. Your sword Dao, Supremacy Hun Yi fell silent. What did the invincible sword Dao mean? Every expert who stood at the top of the world knew it. How difficult was it to achieve the invincible sword Dao? Your mentality has changed, so your sword Dao will change too, Supremacy Hun Yi said. The invincible sword Dao. The invincible sword Dao is too domineering. Ordinary people can't control it. If you insist on it, you'll definitely walk the same path as Supreme Fu Jian and die from qi deviation. After all, Fang Chen had brought him out of the road of reincarnation. He had even been baptized in the dark soul-cleansing water and had a chance to be reborn. He was grateful to Fang Chen from the bottom of his heart. Therefore, he didn't want Fang Chen to take an unconventional path. It's right to have a firm belief, but some beliefs will make you lose your mind and doubt your life. Supremacy Hun Yi was right about the invincible sword Dao. Some geniuses in the ancient Chaos era had created their own sword Dao and named it the invincible sword Dao. However, they had a miserable life in their later years. No one knew what happened, but everyone knew that wherever they went was filled with misfortune. Hee. Fang Chen sat on the ground, feeling the changes in his heart. He chuckled and said, I've asked myself countless times, what is my sword Dao? However, the answer in his heart was different every time. This time, he was still asking himself what sword Dao was. After absorbing the seal that Paragon Fujian had left behind, it was as if he had followed Paragon Fujian into battle and experienced everything himself. Supreme Fu Jian's understanding of the sword Dao and his self-created sword Dao. Fang Chen was very clear about this. He wanted to combine Supreme Fujian's sword arts with his own. In the end, he became even more determined. The path he was about to take was destined to become a taboo path for the world. The Dao he wanted to gain enlightenment into would become a taboo to the gods. The way of the sword depended on the heart and the sword. He was fixated on what was before him. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying sword qi emerged from his body. Sword qi soared into the sky as if it was going to pierce through the heavens. At the same time, Fang Chen soared into the sky. Holding the star-hidden sword in his hand, he suddenly slashed out. Instantly, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Crack! A mountain in the life-forbidden zone was flattened by his sword. Buzz! He stood with his hands behind his back. The star-hidden sword was inserted into the ground, swaying. Sword chi crisscrossed. Fang Chen had never been so clear in his heart. My sword Dao, my path. He murmured. It was as if he was telling the world, but also as if he was talking to himself. Upholding the sword Dao in my heart is the true invincible sword Dao. At this moment, he was suddenly enlightened. The so-called invincible sword Dao was not invincible in terms of sword Dao attainments, but invincible in the heart. If the heart was invincible, the sword Dao would also be invincible. Boom, boom, boom. Unparalleled sword chi was released from Fang Chen's body one after another. Venerable Hun Yi was completely stunned by this scene. What's going on? Supremacy, Hun Yi exclaimed. He checked carefully. In the end, he came to a shocking conclusion. That was, the young man in front of him might really be able to do what Supreme Fujian had never done. At this moment, Fang Chen began to reshape the invincible sword Dao. After all, when he was creating it, he was too weak, causing the invincible sword Dao to have many shortcomings. Now, he was finding them one by one and correcting them one by one. Time passed. In the life-forbidden zone, it was extremely silent. Apart from Lord Qing and other invincible saints, no one else knew. The super genius of the God's Fall battlefield, the strongest disciple in the history of the Dao Palace, had received Supreme Fujian's sword Dao inheritance and was undergoing a transformation. This guy. Lord Qing sighed. Fang Chen could always surprise him. The mission of the Heaven-Defying Alliance over the years has finally been completed. When the Heaven-Defying Alliance was established, in addition to fighting against the demon-devouring clan, they also had a mission, which was to find as many geniuses as possible in the Chaos Realm. His comprehending the Dao. Elder Black and White smiled. Once he succeeded in comprehending Dao, Fang Chen's strength would reach a whole new height. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In the blink of an eye, the appointed day with the Supreme Venerables at the end of the reincarnation road was coming. In the life-forbidden zone, Fang Chen's comprehension of the sword Dao had reached an incredible level. Over the years, he had perfected the invincible sword Dao. Whoosh! Suddenly, he opened his eyes. The invincible sword Qi on his body was powerful and domineering. Even Supremacy Hun Yi was awakened. You succeeded? Supremacy Hun Yi exclaimed when he sensed Fang Chen's aura. Fang Chen nodded. The invincible sword Dao has finally been perfected. Whoosh! He waved his sword, and all the monsters in the life-forbidden zone felt their hearts palpitate. He had once created 11 swords. But after this refinement, he only managed to condense 3 swords. Although it's condensed into 3 swords, its power has increased by 100 times. The current invincible sword Dao was the true invincible sword Dao. And the invincible sword Dao had truly reached the level of a half-step supreme technique. Whoosh! Fang Chen heaved a sigh of relief, his forehead full of sweat. It was too difficult to create a half-step supreme technique. Only he knew how difficult it was. When all 9 sword moves are derived, the invincible sword Dao will become a true supreme technique. Fang Chen murmured to himself. In his mind, the plan was very clear. After condensing the invincible sword Dao, there would be a total of 9 swords. When all 9 swords were created, it would be a true supreme technique. Of course, by then, his strength would be comparable to a Supreme Venerable. It's about time. He raised his head and bowed deeply to the mountain stream. Then, he left the life-forbidden zone. Senior Qing Jun, 2 elders. Fang Chen returned to the myriad Dao world and met the 3 of them in the Dao Palace. I have something important to do, which is related to the survival of the God's Fall battlefield. Chapter 36-37. After perfecting his sword principle, Fang Chen's sword heart had become more tenacious. He was also clearer about the path he wanted to take. After bidding farewell to Lady Qing and the others, Fang Chen didn't go to the reincarnation road to find the great sage. Instead, he went to every corner of the God Fall battlefield. He was looking for the immortal scepter. 3 months later, a battle of gods broke out in the southern wilderness. The reason why it was called a battle of gods was because the people involved were all Saint Realm experts. The strongest had even reached the 6th level of Saint Emperor. Demonic clothing old man, How dare you attack my Green Fire Temple? Green Fire Temple Master said angrily. The southern wilderness was the territory of Green Fire Temple. Not long ago, a scepter was found on the southern wilderness mountain. Anyone who approached would be repelled by the power emitted from the scepter. Soon, the news spread throughout the southern wilderness. Green Fire Temple naturally sealed off the scene immediately. But it was still too late. Demonic clothing old man rushed over and started a massacre, wanting to monopolize the scepter. Get lost, or don't blame me for being rude. Demonic clothing old man was too strong. The experts of Green Fire Temple were no match for him. Poochie. Everyone retreated, and many people died at the hands of demonic clothing old man. Swoosh. A dazzling light streaked across the sky. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back, standing on the peak of the southern wilderness mountain, looking at the immortal scepter in front of him. Finally, he found it. Fang Chen reached out and gently stroked the immortal scepter. Buzz. Dazzling light emitted from the immortal scepter. Fang Chen was a little surprised. After not seeing it for so many years, the immortal scepter had completed such an amazing transformation. A saint weapon? The immortal scepter contained an extremely strong origin power. The power left by the immortal emperor? Fang Chen frowned. Back then, the immortal emperor was the only expert who entered the emperor realm after the Godfall battlefield. And he created the Immortal Creation Department to cultivate talents for the Godfall battlefield. But he had mysteriously disappeared. Many people thought that he had died. But today, Fang Chen knew that the immortal emperor had not died. Then, where did he go if not in the Godfall battlefield? Fang Chen looked in the direction of the northwest. Chaos battlefield? Fang Chen murmured. Boom. The immortal scepter let out a resonant cry, as if responding to Fang Chen. The latter pulled it up, and the earth shook. Quintessence saint weapon. The demonic clothing old man's eyes were bloodshot. He took a step forward and rushed to the peak of the southern desolate mountain. Kid, who are you? Fang Chen said nothing. Give me the scepter in your hand. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude, the demonic clothing old man threatened. This is my scepter, why should I give it to you? While speaking, Fang Chen took the immortal scepter and prepared to leave. You are courting death. The demonic clothing old man bellowed and struck out with his palm. The vast palm power slammed onto Fang Chen's body like a torrential flood. Wang. The latter sent the demonic clothed old man flying with a thought. Thud thud thud. The demonic clothing old man steadied himself and landed on the plain. He looked at Fang Chen with a grave expression. Who is he? The demonic clothing old man asked. He didn't remember such a young saint realm expert. Could he be a disciple of the heaven-defying alliance? The demonic clothing old man subconsciously thought of Fang Chen from the Doctrine Palace. But soon, he shook his head and rejected the idea. It was ridiculous. Who was Fang Chen? He had single-handedly saved the Godfall battlefield. He was a savior. Why would he come to such a place? The demonic clothing old man. The Green Fire Temple Master also realized how powerful Fang Chen was. How about we work together? No matter what, the scepter had appeared in the southern desolate land. He couldn't let an outsider get it. We can work together, but how do we split the scepter? The demonic clothing old man asked. The Green Fire Temple Master had already thought about it. Give the scepter to the Green Fire Temple, and the Green Fire Temple will give you half of the authority of Earthly Flame. How about that? Okay, deal. Obviously, the authority of Earthly Flame was more attractive to the demonic clothing old man than the scepter. Boom. The two experts stared at Fang Chen cautiously. Whoosh. Fang Chen strolled down the southern desolate mountain. Boy, I don't care who you are. Hand over the scepter. What if I don't? Fang Chen shrugged. Do it. With the Green Fire Temple Master's order, the people of the Green Fire Temple attacked. Rumble. A deafening sound resounded through the sky. The people of the Green Fire Temple set up a formation to trap Fang Chen. The demonic clothing old man and the Green Fire Temple Master joined forces to deal with Fang Chen. Fang Chen shook his head in the face of the encirclement. He was just taking back his belongings. Why bother? Crack. He flicked his finger and the formation shattered. The people who set up the formation all fell to the ground. Oh no! The Green Fire Temple Master took a deep breath and attacked even more fiercely. Suppress. The demonic clothing old man used his strongest skill. Fang Chen did not move, allowing the attacks of the two to land on his body. There was a layer of invisible runes on the surface of his skin that easily blocked the two experts' attacks. Huh! The Green Fire Temple Master and the demonic clothing old man were shocked. How is this possible? They exclaimed. The two of them could even fight a saint if they joined forces. However, they couldn't break the defense of the person in front of them. Get out of here before I get angry, Fang Chen said. Dong. The two experts were sent flying. The Green Fire Temple Master and the demonic clothing old man rolled a few times on the ground and got up quickly. Who did you get? The Green Fire Temple Master asked as he looked at Fang Chen's back. Fang Chen. Fang Chen disappeared as soon as he said that. The two powerhouses were left bewildered and shocked. Fang Chen from the Doctrine Palace? Oh my god, we tried to suppress Fang Chen from the Doctrine Palace. The Green Fire Temple Master and the demonic clothing old man were shocked. It's terrifying. Everyone was terrified. Fortunately, Fang Chen didn't want to kill. Otherwise, there would be a river of blood. After a long time, the demonic clothing old man and the Green Fire Temple Master looked at each other. There was a smile on their faces, as if they had just survived a disaster. I didn't expect that we would fight with Fang Chen. The scepter had been taken away by Fang Chen and the demonic clothing old man had also left. The Green Fire Temple Master looked in the direction where Fang Chen had left, deep in thought. From today onwards, the southern wilderness mountain will be renamed Mount Chen. Build a scepter on the mountain peak with the best materials. The Green Fire Temple Master ordered. Even he didn't know that Mount Chen was built to commemorate Fang Chen's visit. He didn't expect that countless years later, it would become a cultivation holy land in the southern wilderness. The Green Fire Temple also became a top force in the Godfall battlefield. Of course, this was all in the future. In the demonic mountain range, Fang Chen found the entrance to the Reincarnation Road. Whoosh! As soon as he entered the Reincarnation Road, the great sage sensed it. With a flash of golden light, Fang Chen appeared at the end of the Reincarnation Road. Are you done? At the end of the Reincarnation Road, the statue opened its eyes and asked. Fang Chen nodded. The primordial chaos had been arranged. Unless a half-step chaotic supremacy came, it was impossible to break the seal. He had also killed the Star Knights and found the immortal scepter. Everything that needed to be done was done. Chapter 36-38. Everything around him had been dealt with. The crisis of the God's Fall battlefield had been resolved. His wish had been fulfilled. Fang Chen felt his heart heavy. He shouldered the hopes of billions of living beings. If he failed, the entire Chaos Realm would disappear completely. So this time, he had to succeed. However, he knew nothing about the unknown origin world and the devouring demon race. Moreover, the origin world was the territory of the devouring demon race. If he was not careful, he would be exposed. So this mission was extremely dangerous. Reincarnation is not an easy thing, especially for a 5-element Saint Realm martial artist like you. The great sage said in a deep voice. He had controlled the Reincarnation Road for countless years and had a deep understanding of it. Therefore, he knew very well how difficult it was for Fang Chen to reincarnate. However, since they had planned for so long, they naturally had a way. Go to the Bitter Sea first and absorb the power of the Bitter Sea. With a wave of the Grand Monarch's hand, Fang Chen lost control of his body and found himself in an endless sea of bitterness. Plop! His body sank into the Bitter Sea and did not pick up any splashes. The Bloodline King and the Blood Cavalry Saint opened their eyes at the same time, their eyes full of worry. Great Sage, will he succeed? The Bloodline King asked. What if he causes too much of a commotion when he reincarnates and the devouring demon race finds out? These were all things that needed to be considered. However, the great sage pondered. To reincarnate into the origin world, The first condition is to form the nascent soul. Fang Chen's nascent soul had successfully formed the nascent soul after the baptism of the dark soul cleansing water. He was the first 5 elements Saint Realm martial artist to cultivate his nascent soul to the nascent soul level. Moreover, he had the perfect bloodline. Although it had not reached the ultimate level, it was very compatible. It was no exaggeration to say that he was the most likely to succeed in the world. What if even he failed? Then the Chaos Realm would really become history. The great sage had studied countless times and had a clear understanding of Fang Chen's situation. He was full of confidence. The Bitter Sea was also known as the Lake of Reincarnation. It was filled with the mysterious power of reincarnation. Anyone who was reincarnated had to go through the baptism of the Sea of Bitterness before they could reach the other shore, step onto the divine bridge, and be reborn. However, Fang Chen's destination was the origin world. That place was very special. The heavenly Tao was perfect, and the source energy was many times denser than the primal chaos realm. The spatial structure was also very firm. Therefore, before his reincarnation, Fang Chen needed to absorb enough of the bitter sea's power to refine his body. Hiss hiss hiss. In the depths of the sea of bitterness, Fang Chen sat cross-legged and relaxed his body and mind, allowing the seawater to hit his body. Rip. He could clearly feel that the seawater contained an extremely strong power of reincarnation. Not long after, his skin was burned. However, he soon found out. The tempering of the sea of misery was actually targeted at the essence soul. The little golden man in his mind swayed continuously, enjoying the impact of the sea of bitterness. Spring passed and autumn came. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. Beside the sea of misery, the great senior, who had been paying attention to Fang Chen's every move, revealed a smile on his face. He was very satisfied with Fang Chen's performance in the past 3 years. It's about time, the great senior murmured. At this time, Fang Chen's essence soul had undergone enough refinement. Next was the most important reincarnation. Fang Chen. The great senior's voice entered Fang Chen's ears. Fang Chen was startled. He knew that the time was ripe. Reincarnation into the origin world is different from normal reincarnation. I will use heaven-defying methods to open a gap in the sea of bitterness. The gap led to the origin world. However, this passage was very special and contained the profound mysteries of reincarnation. Once the physical body approached it, it would be destroyed. Therefore, he could only enter the passage in the form of his essence soul. After walking out of the passage, he had to seize a body as quickly as possible. This way, he could complete his reincarnation. In fact, according to the normal process, after reincarnation, he would definitely come out of his mother's womb. However, Fang Chen was going through an abnormal channel, and it was a plan that the great senior and the top powerhouses had been planning for countless years. Therefore, it was feasible. Do you understand? The great senior said. At the same time, he also told Fang Chen that after he seized a body, the heavenly Tao of the origin world would not reject him. However, once he released the aura of the perfect bloodline, he would be punished by the heavenly Tao and his identity would be exposed. Therefore, unless it was a last resort, he must not expose his perfect bloodline. Soon after, Fang Chen nodded and prepared. Buzz. The statue shattered, and the great senior's true body was revealed. He opened his hands and constantly formed hand seals. In the incomparably calm sea of bitterness, a violent wind suddenly blew, and the end of the reincarnation road was filled with a vast power. Open! The great senior shouted. At the bottom of the sea of bitterness, cracks gradually appeared, and a gap was forming. At the same time, in the chaos battlefield, many top powerhouses of the Godsfall Alliance, led by the heaven-defying Alliance Master, crazily bombarded the entrance to the origin world. Kill! The heaven-defying Alliance Master shouted, falling into madness. The war that broke out on the chaos battlefield attracted the attention of the origin world. The devouring demon clan sent out experts to suppress the chaos battlefield. However, in the process, they were completely unaware that an incomplete primordial spirit burst out from a gap in the void. Whoosh! Soon after, the heaven-defying Alliance Master and the others fled and hid. How is it? An expert asked. The heaven-defying alliance master nodded. Success. He had a special way of communicating with the Great Senior. Not long ago, it was the Great Senior who told him to attack crazily to attract the attention of the devouring demon clan and buy time for Fang Chen. Now, the Great Senior had successfully sent Fang Chen's primordial spirit into the origin world. Their mission was completed, and they quickly hid. Success or failure depends on this, the human expert said. At the end of the reincarnation road, beside the Sea of Bitterness, the Great Senior stood with his hands behind his back, staring at the Sea of Bitterness. Great Senior, will Fang Chen be discovered? After all, the devouring demon clan's patriarch was an existence infinitely close to becoming a chaos controller. Even if the Bloodsword Paragon was alive, it would be difficult for him to be a match for him. The Great Senior shook his head. If the devouring demon clan's patriarch wants to become a chaos controller, he must absorb the chaos realm's providence and merge his body with heaven and earth, truly merging with the heavenly Tao. Now, he is at the most critical moment of the fusion and has no time to be distracted. It was precisely because of this excellent opportunity that they dared to send Fang Chen into the origin world. I hope it will succeed. The Great Senior muttered. If it failed and the devouring demon clan discovered it, the chaos realm would definitely be destroyed. This was something they did not want to see. The origin world. The origin world's power was extremely rich, and the heavenly Tao was not lacking. It operated perfectly. This place was simply the holy land of cultivation that every Saint Realm expert dreamed of. However, the ruler of this place was the cruel devouring demon clan. On this day, it suddenly snowed heavily in a small border city. Chapter 36-39. The origin source aura was more than 10 times thicker than the chaos realm. Moreover, the heavenly Tao was perfect, and its providence was invincible. This place was simply a holy land for cultivation. The origin world was the lair of the Fiend Devourer clan. It was also a manifestation of the Fiend Devourer clan's leader's ambition. He used the billions of lives in the Chaos Realm as the price to achieve his position as the Chaos Controller. Once he succeeded, the Chaos Realm would completely become history. Fang Chen, shouldering the mission of billions of lives in the Chaos Realm, descended upon the origin world. Thousand Autumns City. One of the 28 cities under Carefree Manor. This city was located at the edge of the origin world, and it was a veritable border town. Originally, the climate of Thousand Autumns City was very dry. Ever since the birth of the origin world, it had never snowed. But now, the entire Thousand Autumns City was draped in silver. Heavy snow continued to fall from the sky. Outside the city, in a barren mountain range. Rip. A figure covered in blood escaped from the depths of the mountain range. However, the angry roar of a beast came from behind. Bang! The figure did not take a few steps before falling to the ground. Not long after, the origin spirit shattered and lost its vitality. Roar. The demon beast got closer and closer, letting out an angry roar as it quickly shuttled through the snow-filled barren mountain range. Just as it was about to pounce on the already dead human, a crack suddenly appeared in the void in front of it. Following that, a grey aura wrapped around an incomplete golden figure shot out. The moment the golden figure appeared, the heavy snow instantly stopped. Whoosh! At a speed almost invisible to the naked eye, the incomplete golden figure entered the dead human's mind. At this time, the demon beast had already fallen into the void crack. It wanted to struggle, but to its horror, its body was being swallowed by the darkness. Roar. It let out an angry roar before it was completely swallowed by the darkness. The heavy snow stopped, and the barren mountain range regained its calm. In Thousand Autumns City, everyone was discussing what this heavy snow that had been falling for 9 years meant. Could it be that a genius had been born? Or that the ruins of a powerhouse had appeared? In short, there were different opinions. Young master, are we really going to enter the Thousand Autumns mountain range? There was a group of people in front of the barren mountain range. The person in the lead was the famous young master of the Han family in Thousand Autumns City. The Fiend Devourer clan was a prehistoric race that had developed to this day. His clansmen were spread throughout the entire origin world. From this, it could be seen how much the clan had multiplied. The Han family was just a small branch of the demon-devouring clan, and their bloodline was very thin. In recent generations, they could not even activate their demon-devouring bloodline. If it weren't for the fact that the Han clan's old ancestor had suppressed many experts with his unparalleled strength, many powers in Thousand Autumns City would have already made a move against the Han clan. Han Lin, the young master of the Han family. During the 9 years of Great Snow, he had inadvertently heard people say that it was very likely that the ruins of a powerhouse had appeared. Very few people have ever dared to venture into the Thousand Autumn mountain range. Perhaps the remains of an expert are inside, Han Lin said in a low voice. But young master, the butler wanted to stop him, but Han Lin's attitude was firm. His intuition told him that the inheritance of the devouring demon clan's experts might be in the Thousand Autumn mountain range. Just wait until I activate my devouring demon bloodline and gain the favor of the Carefree Palace. At that time, those forces that are suppressing my Han family will be annihilated, Han Lin said ferociously. After that, the group entered the Thousand Autumns mountain range. Towering trees stood tall, and the heavy snow stopped. However, the snow accumulated on the branches slowly fell. On the ground, there was a figure that seemed to have died a long time ago. Suddenly, his fingers moved. Immediately after, he felt pain all over his body. Am I not dead? That was the first sentence he said. However, he soon realized that something was wrong. In his mind, memories appeared like a tide. I am Fang Chen. Fang Chen's incomplete primordial spirit had taken over this dead human body. However, the memories of the original owner still existed. Is this the origin world? Fang Chen murmured. At this time, he was seriously injured and could not move an inch. After struggling for a while, he gave up and began to receive information from the original owner. Not long after, Fang Chen knew that the original owner was a rogue cultivator named Lin Chen. He entered the Thousand Autumns mountain range to find the supreme inheritance. However, he encountered a stronger demon beast and died. First level Holy King? Fang Chen pursed his lips. He did not expect the cultivation of this body to be so weak. Moreover, the strength of this body could not be compared to his own. However, when he thought of the Supreme Sage's words, he understood. He could carry his memories and reincarnate into the origin world. It was the plan of all the Almighties in the Chaos Realm for hundreds of millions of years before they succeeded. His goal in coming here was to collect the purest demon-devouring bloodline, and then transform it to its strongest state. Forget it. Fang Chen shook his head. If his body was weak, he could cultivate. If his realm was low, he could also improve quickly. The most important thing now was to adapt to the living environment of the origin world and then wait for an opportunity. At this moment, Fang Chen heard footsteps. Young master, there's someone over there. The butler pointed to the front. Han Lin walked over quickly and saw Fang Chen. Who are you? Han Lin's expression was grave as he dared to barge into the Thousand Autumns mountain range alone. Young master, he is. The butler recognized Fang Chen. Lin Chen, a rogue cultivator. He's somewhat famous in the Thousand Autumns City. Oh. Han Lin's eyes darted around before he asked, why are you seriously injured? Fang Chen immediately recognized that Han Lin was from the demon-devouring clan. I accidentally entered the Thousand Autumns mountain range and was attacked by demonic beasts, Han Lin smiled. Your injuries are very serious. I can save you, but you have to work for me. Okay. Fang Chen agreed immediately. Then, Han Lin gave Fang Chen the Han clan's secret healing panacea. The latter swallowed it, and his complexion improved after a while. What do you need me to do? Fang Chen asked. At this moment, he could already move, but his strength had not recovered. He looked around. Among Han Lin's group, the butler was the strongest. He was a third-level Holy King, while the others were second-level Holy Kings. In his current state, it was impossible for him to defeat them. Help me scout the way, Han Lin said. It never snows in the Thousand Autumns City, but this time, it has been snowing for 9 years. It must be the remains of a strong cultivator. What you need to do is to help me scout the depths of the Thousand Autumns mountain range. If you can find the remains of a strong cultivator, I will reward you handsomely." Hearing this, Fang Chen was stunned. 9 years of snow. He was in the reincarnation passage opened by the great sage, and his primordial spirit had undergone reincarnation. He did not expect that 9 years would pass in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! He took a deep breath and said, "I am willing to serve you, master." Han Lin was very satisfied with Fang Chen's performance, but the butler remained vigilant. Soon, Han Lin and the others arrived at the depths of the Thousand Autumns mountain range. "Young master, we can't continue. You, go scout the way," Han Lin said coldly. Chapter 3640. At the core of Eon Mountain Range. The deeper he went, the more pressure Fang Chen felt. He sighed helplessly. If he was in the chaotic realm, his chaos sword body would have reached its peak and would not be suppressed. However, he had just been reborn and his original body was too weak. It would take some time to activate the chaos sword body and cultivate it to its peak. However, Fang Chen believed that it would not take long. After all, this was the origin world. With such rich origin energy, one's cultivation speed would be increased by at least 100 times. "Young master, can Lin Chen find anything with his strength?" the butler asked softly. Han Lin sneered. "Humph, it's a joke to expect a piece of trash like him to find the relic of an elite." However, after pondering for a while, he said, "Since there is a relic of an elite in the depths of Eon Mountain Range, there must be a supreme beast guarding it. His value is to attract the attack of the supreme beast." Hearing this, the butler and the other servants understood and gave Han Lin a thumbs up. Wonderful. Han Lin's eyes were filled with lust. It was as if he could already see Fang Chen attracting the attack of the supreme beast while they easily entered the relic and obtained the inheritance. "Humph, just you wait. I, Han Lin, will make a name for myself one day." When that time came, even the elites of Carefree Mansion would beg him to join. However, Han Lin's ambition was not there. His biggest dream was to enter the ancestral land of the Devouring Demons clan and be summoned by the clan leader. Phew. Han Lin took a deep breath and shook his head hard to stop thinking about it. At the core of Eon Mountain Range, Fang Chen stopped and released his divine consciousness to sense the situation in the mountain range. Although his primordial spirit was injured after passing through the reincarnation passage, it was still a nascent soul primordial spirit. Such a powerful primordial spirit was not something an ordinary person could compare to even if it was injured. The conversation between Han Lin and the others was clearly heard by Fang Chen. "Using me?" Fang Chen sneered. After learning about the Battle of Gods in the chaotic realm, he did not have a good impression of the Devouring Demons clan. Now that he had just been reborn, he met Han Lin and the latter wanted to kill him. The evils he brought upon himself were the hardest to bear. After a long while, Fang Chen withdrew his divine sense. His primordial spirit was not strong enough to support him for a long time, but it was enough to deal with Han Lin and the others. There aren't any powerful demonic beasts in the Thousand Autumn Mountain Range, Fang Chen muttered. Then, he began to set up the array. Heavenly Cycle Stellar Formation. This array was enough to deal with ordinary Saint Realm martial artists. Rip. A moment later, Fang Chen finished setting up the array. Then, he deliberately punched a towering tree not far away. Rumble. A deafening sound spread in the direction of Han Lin and the others. What's that? Han Lin and the others, who were waiting for an opportunity, were overjoyed. It must be Lin Chen. Han Lin took the lead and rushed towards the core area. At the same time, Fang Chen was hiding in the Heavenly Cycle Stellar Killing Array. He's here. A while later, Han Lin and the others arrived. There are traces of a battle here. Lin Chen must have lured the peerless demonic beast away. Han Lin's eyes emitted a lustful light. Search immediately. Dig 3 feet into the ground to find the remains of the powerhouse. Han Lin and the others did not notice the Heavenly Cycle Stellar Killing Array at all. Whoosh. When the entire group of people entered the formation was abruptly activated. A storm and a terrifying killing intent instantly spread out. Oh no. The first to sense the danger was the steward. He took a step forward and stood beside Han Lin. "Young master, be careful." The biting cold wind blew crazily. "What's going on?" Han Lin was puzzled. Why would an array appear in the depths of the Thousand Autumn mountain range? Could it be that someone had beaten him to it? For a moment, he thought of Fang Chen, but he quickly shook his head and dismissed the idea. He's just a rogue cultivator. How could he set up such a powerful array? Han Lin's body tensed up and he was ready to attack at any time. "Young master, don't worry. This array is unstable. Let's attack together and destroy it," the steward commanded calmly. Whoosh. However, at this moment, a dazzling sword light descended from the sky. Combined with the power of the heavenly cycle stellar killing array, it instantly killed a servant. The servant did not even have time to scream before he fell limply to the ground. "Who is it?" the steward roared. Whoosh. Another sword slashed and another servant fell to the ground. "Be careful," the steward roared. However, no matter how careful they were, they still could not block it. The swordsmanship was too powerful. As long as they were stabbed, they would definitely die. As expected of the source world. Fang Chen sighed secretly. Although this body only had the cultivation of a first-level holy king, with his peak combat strength, he could easily kill a few holy kings. However, in the source world, he needed the help of the heavenly cycle stellar killing array to do so. Everything was because warriors of the same level who cultivated in the source world had a solid foundation and a deeper understanding of the source world, so they were more powerful. According to Fang Chen's speculation, the combat strength of a third-level holy king in the source world was comparable to an ordinary fifth-level holy emperor in the chaotic realm. Let's end this quickly. The biggest threat was the steward. As long as he killed the steward, Han Lin was not worth mentioning at all. With that thought in mind, Fang Chen displayed the invincible swordsmanship. The terrifying invincible sword qi surrounded him. The sword qi crisscrossed and could swallow the sun and moon. "Get lost." The steward punched out and collided with the long sword, producing a deafening sound. Thud, thud, thud. The steward retreated. He looked up to the sky and roared, extremely furious. The heavenly cycle stellar killing array limited his power, so he could not fully deal with Fang Chen. As a result, he was constantly suppressed in the battle. "Sir, we are from the Han family of Qianqiu City." "Who are you?" the steward asked coldly. "That's right. I am Han Lin from the Han family. If you dare to touch me, the Han family will not let you off." "Is the Han family very powerful?" A disdainful voice came from the void. "Invincible swordsmanship." Fang Chen appeared behind the steward like a ghost. Poochie. The battle became more and more intense. Although the steward was very strong, he was still powerless in the face of Fang Chen. After an hour of fierce battle, the steward was killed. In the end, Han Lin was the only one left in the heavenly cycle stellar killing array. "No." Han Lin shook his head frantically, not daring to believe the scene in front of him. "Die." Fang Chen appeared and pierced his throat with his sword. "It's you." Before he died, Han Lin saw Fang Chen's true face. He looked ferocious and wanted to send a message, but his limbs did not listen to him and he fell to the ground. Whoosh! The array collapsed. Fang Chen leaped and disappeared into the darkness. This was the origin world, the nest of the demon-devouring race. If he was not careful, his identity would be exposed. Fang Chen naturally would not leave any clues. A few days later. Chapter 3641. In the tavern. Fang Chen leaned against the window and drank alone. The tavern was the fastest place to obtain information. Fang Chen was new here and was unfamiliar with the origin world. The only thing he remembered was what the great sage had told him. However, the great sage had never been to the origin world, so he did not know how far the devouring demon clan had developed after countless years. After a long while, Fang Chen drank the wine in his cup in one gulp. He sighed. He now had a rough idea of the overall layout of the origin world. The overlord force of the origin world was the devouring demon clan. However, after generations of development, they eventually evolved into other branches and clans. For example, the Han family of Thousand Autumn City. Although their ancestors were also from the devouring demon clan, their bloodline became thinner and thinner due to generations of inheritance. In Han Lin's generation, they could no longer activate the devouring demon bloodline in their bodies. Such a clan was at the bottom of the hierarchy in the origin world. They had almost no right to speak. The identity of the devouring demon clan did not guarantee their survival. Thousand Autumn City was a small border city in the origin world. It was one of the 12 cities of Carefree Manor. Speaking of Carefree Manor, Fang Chen was naturally no stranger to it. In the demonic Skyfire domain, he had once killed the young Marquis Xiao Mu and defeated Carefree Manor's spirit body. I didn't expect this. Fang Chen shook his head. He did not expect that he would reincarnate and come to Carefree Manor. Right now, what he needed to do was to stabilize his position and gain a foothold in the origin world. He could not rush for success. Otherwise, once his identity was exposed, he would definitely die. At that time, the vast primal chaos realm would also completely vanish into thin air. Suddenly, Fang Chen's ears twitched as he heard some useful information. The selection of Thousand Autumn's mountain. What is this? Fang Chen was surprised. However, he soon understood. 9 years of heavy snow in Thousand Autumn City, a phenomenon fell from the sky. Carefree Manor took it very seriously and personally ordered to send an envoy to Thousand Autumn City to select geniuses. Heavy snow promised a bountiful year. 9 years of heavy snow, Thousand Autumn City would definitely produce geniuses. Many people were discussing it. Once he passed the selection of Chenqiu Mountain, he would be able to cultivate in Carefree House. Thousand Autumn's City basically doesn't have any core members of the Devouring Devil clan. If you want to obtain the blood essence of the Devouring Devil clan, you have to go to a bigger stage. Fang Chen muttered to himself. He had decided to participate in the Thousand Autumn Mountain selection. After paying the bill, he walked out of the restaurant. At this moment, Fang Chen saw a carriage coming towards him. What attracted his attention was not the carriage. Instead, it was the person pulling the carriage. That's right, in front of the carriage, there were 2 old men in tattered clothes. They were pulling the carriage forward. This is a human. Fang Chen frowned. The origin world was the territory of the demon-devouring race. They had a blood feud with the races of the Chaos Realm. Why would a human warrior appear here? As expected of the young master of the Li family. How imposing. Of course, the Li family's ancestor has already personally appointed the Li family's young master as the next patriarch. His status has greatly increased. He's always been an arrogant and despotic silk pants. Now that he's the young master of the Li clan, he's even more arrogant. These 2 coachmen are so pitiful. The surrounding people were discussing animatedly. "Mph, what's there to pity?" A man with sword-like eyebrows said coldly. "They're all sinners and should be punished in the land of the sinners. However, our demon-devouring race brought them here and spared them from punishment. They should be grateful." Seeing this, the others did not dare to say anything. At this moment, Fang Chen finally understood. It seemed that there were many beings of the Chaos Realm in the origin world, and they were all enslaved. Fang Chen sighed. In the Chaos Realm, perhaps they were strong. However, after being captured and brought to the origin world, they were powerless to resist and could only be slaughtered. Fang Chen could sense that the 2 men's cultivation had reached the Saint Realm. In the Chaos Realm, they had the ability to protect themselves. But here, unknowingly, Fang Chen clenched his fists. A cold murderous intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. If I want to save the world, I have to obtain the blood essence of the demon-devouring race and let my perfect bloodline transform completely. Then, I'll destroy the demon-devouring race's patriarch's plan. Fang Chen murmured to himself. This was only the tip of the iceberg. He believed that the more central the demon-devouring race was, the more powerful beings of the Chaos Realm would be enslaved. He even guessed that the once unparalleled powerhouses of the Godsfall battlefield had mysteriously disappeared. Were they secretly captured and brought here by the demon-devouring race? Thinking of this, Fang Chen's heart became even heavier. The burden on his shoulders was heavy. Therefore, he had to be more careful. He could not act on impulse, and he could not pity them. Fist salute. Fang Chen looked at the two of them with some guilt. With his current strength, he could rescue the two of them, but he could not expose himself. A few days later, the envoy of the carefree mansion arrived. The powerhouses of the Thousand Autumn City welcomed him. Welcome, envoy. The city lord of the Thousand Autumn City cupped his fists. Behind him were many patriarchs of the various families. Are you ready? The envoy was dressed in green and had a cold expression. We're ready. We're just waiting for the envoy to arrive. With that, the Thousand Autumn City lord waved his hand, and all the contestants came to the square. Fang Chen was among the crowd. He was participating in the Thousand Autumn Mountain selection in the name of Lin Chen. The Marquis attaches great importance to this selection. I hope that you can all do your best. After the envoy finished speaking, he sat on the rostrum. Next, the Thousand Autumn City lord explained the rules of the selection. Outside the Thousand Autumn City, there was a towering mountain called the Thousand Autumn Mountain. There were many obstacles on the Thousand Autumn Mountain. Whoever could successfully reach the peak would pass the selection. Only the top 20. The envoy closed his eyes. With the order of the Thousand Autumn City Lord, all the contestants came to the foot of the Thousand Autumn Mountain. Boom! The prodigies of the various families directly climbed the mountain. Fang Chen stopped and watched for a long time. In the city, on the rostrum. Congratulations, Patriarch Li. The Li family has produced an incredible genius. Yes, Li Xiaoqiu's strength is almost invincible in the same realm. He will definitely pass this selection. Some of the family heads complimented each other. Among them, the Li and Mo families were the leaders. On the Thousand Autumn Mountain, the disciples of the Li clan and Mo clan did not disappoint the crowd. They were taking the lead and charging forward. Patriarch Han, why isn't Han Lin participating? Suddenly, someone asked. Could it be that Han Lin doesn't want to participate? Patriarch Han glanced at the envoy and hurriedly explained, Han Lin went out on a mission and hasn't returned yet, so, the Han family had already declined, and he did not want to anger the envoy. Hey, what's that guy doing? At this moment, everyone noticed Fang Chen. He stood at the foot of the Thousand Autumn Mountain with his hands behind his back, staring at the peak. That guy is called Lin Chen. He's a wandering cultivator. He couldn't have been scared silly, right? Everyone shook their heads and ignored him. Such people could be found everywhere. Chapter 3642. The onlookers were all laughing at Fang Chen. He had participated in the selection but was scared silly at the foot of the mountain. Lin Chen was probably the first in the history of Thousand Autumn City. The carefree manners envoy shifted his gaze. In his eyes, Fang Chen was just one of the countless ants he had seen in his life. Thousand Autumn City is a small city after all. The carefree manners envoy muttered to himself. Thousand Autumn City was the smallest city of the 12 cities of Carefree Manor. It was also the most peripheral city. If it wasn't for the 9 years of snow, Carefree Manor would have forgotten that there was such a city under his command. Could it be one of them? The envoy frowned. Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun, from the looks of it, these two people were at the top level. Their climbing speed was extremely fast, leaving the others far behind. However, the envoy could feel that although these two were the top geniuses of the younger generation of Thousand Autumn City, they were still lacking something. Forget it, let's continue watching. The envoy muttered to himself. In the blink of an eye, an incense stick's worth of time had passed. Fang Chen was still in a daze at the foot of the mountain. Many people were no longer paying attention to this sensationalist. They were all discussing who would be first in the selection, Li Xiaoqiu or Mo Yun. I see. After a while, Fang Chen came back to his senses. He sighed. To think that a random mountain in the origin world would contain such a dense amount of origin energy. As expected of the origin world that took away 2/3 of the Chaos Realm's luck. It seemed that the origin world's development over the countless years was much faster than expected. Fang Chen sighed. If he had come here to cultivate earlier, his speed would have been even higher. He might have been able to comprehend all 5 origins. Of course, this was knowledge. He had just roamed the Thousand Autumns Mountain with his powerful divine sense and saw through all the tests. The Thousand Autumns Mountain hid dense origin energy. Therefore, according to the distance and position of the mountain, there would be different resistance. Let's begin. He glanced at Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun. They were about to reach the top of the mountain, while the others were too far behind. Whoosh, whoosh. Fang Chen's figure flashed like an arrow leaving the bow. His speed was extremely fast. Look, Lin Chen moved. How can he be so fast? What happened after we arrived? Someone in the crowd noticed Fang Chen. Following that, countless cries of surprise rang out. This was because Fang Chen's speed was too fast. As soon as he started, he turned into a series of afterimages and flew towards the peak of the mountain. In just a breath's time, he had already surpassed some of the contestants. Many family heads were also dumbfounded. What was going on in the sect? His movement technique? At this moment, the envoy of the Carefree Mansion also noticed the uniqueness of Fang Chen's movement technique. What an exquisite movement technique. The other youths of the Thousand Autumns City simply can't compare to him. The emissary exclaimed in admiration. He's already halfway up the mountain. Heavens, isn't his speed too fast? Even the Sage Emperor can't compare to him. To a small place like Thousand Autumns City, holy emperors were already peerless powerhouses. However, to the emissary of the Carefree Mansion, the Saint Emperor was nothing. However, for Lin Chen to have such speed as a first-level holy king, it was really surprising. Interesting. Finally, the envoy began to take the selection seriously. Fang Chen ignored the shock of the crowd and sped up, quickly catching up with the second group. Too slow. Fang Chen shook his head. Along the way, he encountered many obstacles. However, his understanding of the origin had already reached an incredible level, and he easily passed through the obstacles. Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun, who were about to reach the peak of the mountain, turned their heads and saw this scene. Lin Chen? Mo Yun was puzzled. He had heard of Lin Chen before. He was a rogue cultivator in Thousand Autumns City with average strength. However, why was his speed so fast? First place is mine. Soon, Mo Yun collected his thoughts and snorted coldly. He sped up and rushed towards the peak of the mountain. At the side, Li Xiaoqiu was full of confidence. He also took a step forward to compete with Mo Yun for first place. For a moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Fang Chen. They really wanted to know if this rogue cultivator called Lin Chen could break the monopoly of the two great geniuses. After a few more minutes, Fang Chen caught up with the first group, side by side with Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun. Damn it. Mo Yun was unwilling to give up and threw a punch. Dong. Fang Chen leaped and cleverly dodged Mo Yun's attack. The first place is between me and Li Xiaoqiu. You, get lost. Mo Yun looked coldly at Fang Chen and said coldly. You can't beat others, so you use such despicable means. Fang Chen looked at him in disdain. Is this the way your Mo family does things? Mo Yun was furious. In Thousand Autumns City, Patriarch Mo was a little embarrassed. He originally thought that Mo Yun would be the first place, but who knew that Lin Chen would appear out of nowhere? Ignorant junior. Patriarch Mo snorted coldly. I don't think so. The envoy of Carefree Manor said playfully. He came this time under orders to select a genius. If he couldn't select a genius, he would definitely disappoint Carefree Manor, and by then, it would affect his future development. Seeing Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun's performance, he even gave up. However, Lin Chen's appearance made him see hope. His intuition told him that Lin Chen was the genius he was looking for. Lord Envoy, Patriarch Mo wanted to say something but stopped. On Thousand Autumns Mountain. With a swoosh, Fang Chen's speed suddenly increased and surpassed Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu. How is this possible? The two of them cried out involuntarily. Their speed had already reached the limit, but Fang Chen could still increase his speed. What level is his movement technique? Li Xiaoqiu looked at Fang Chen meaningfully. Stop him. The two of them reached a consensus and continued to attack Fang Chen. Despicable. Some people in the crowd were disdainful. The disciples of the two families were usually very arrogant and domineering in Thousand Autumns City. Now, there was someone who surpassed them with his own strength. However, they held a grudge in their hearts and wanted to join forces to attack. How shameless. Fang Chen snorted coldly. His speed increased again, leaving behind a shocking back view. No. Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu's attacks missed. They couldn't believe it. However, when people saw Fang Chen's figure again, the latter had already reached the peak of Thousand Autumns Mountain. Lin Chen reached the peak. Heavens, under the encirclement of two geniuses, he actually reached the peak so easily. Too strong. Many people shouted. The envoy's eyes shone with golden light as his hands trembled. That's right, Lin Chen was the person he was looking for. Patriarch Mo and Patriarch Li looked at each other, unable to hide their disappointment. How could this be? Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun walked to the peak unwillingly and glared at Fang Chen. Haha, wonderful. Chapter 36-43. At the peak of Thousand Autumn Mountain. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back, looking domineering. Swoosh, swoosh. Two silhouettes came one after another. They glared at Fang Chen. Brat, you cheated. The one who spoke was Mo Yun. He did not believe that a rogue cultivator could surpass him. If Li Xiaoqiu had gotten first place in the selection, he would not have said anything. However, he was indignant that Fang Chen had gotten first place. In the end, it was because Fang Chen had not displayed unparalleled strength. If he could suppress everyone, Mo Yun would naturally have nothing to say. As the envoy applauded, the other onlookers also applauded. They were extremely envious. Lin Chen's performance was too outstanding. Some even suspected that Lin Chen might have gotten the inheritance from the 9 years of snow in Thousand Autumn City. Of course, there was no evidence and it was only a guess. The envoy narrowed his eyes and felt that Lin Chen was more to his liking. Haha, this trip was not in vain. The envoy laughed heartily. He raised his head and looked at Fang Chen. He felt that there was a layer of mystery around the latter. He did not expect that a rogue cultivator would be able to suppress Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun and get first place in the Thousand Autumn Mountain selection. Swoosh, swoosh. Soon, the top 20 were all selected and the rest were dejected. In particular, the two who were ranked 21st and 22nd were filled with anger towards Fang Chen. They had once argued with Lin Chen, but that was because they looked down on the latter. They did not expect Lin Chen to reach such a level in such a short period of time. What a lucky bastard. He must have obtained a profound movement technique. If I had that movement technique, I would definitely be in the top 20. The more they thought about it, the angrier they became. If Lin Chen had not appeared out of nowhere, the two of them would have had the highest chance of entering the top 20. I won't let this matter rest if you cut off my cultivation path. The two of them snorted and left Thousand Autumn Mountain. Not long after, the 20 people came to the square and the envoy gave each of them a token. The black token had the word Xiao written on the front, which was Xiao Yarou whose surname. On the back was a fiery red lion. It was said that Xiao Yarou whose mount was this fiery red lion. Moreover, this mount had become the Carefree Mansion's guardian divine beast. Finally, the emissary's gaze fell on Fang Chen. Your name is Lin Chen? The emissary asked. Fang Chen nodded and didn't say anything else. The demon-devouring bloodline in your body has yet to be fully activated. It is not easy for you to have such a performance. The emissary continued. But don't worry. When you reach the Carefree Palace, there will be experts who will help you activate your demon-devouring bloodline. As he spoke, the emissary took out a golden token and handed it to Lin Chen. Seeing this, the expressions of the others changed drastically. The black token represented the identity of an ordinary disciple of the Carefree Mansion. As for the golden token, it represented the target of attention. Moreover, in order to be promoted to a guest of Carefree Mansion, one must possess a gold token. Before joining the Carefree Mansion, they were already inferior to Fang Chen. Naturally, they were not convinced. Lord Envoy. The one who spoke was Mo Yun. With a look of dissatisfaction, he said bluntly, Lin Chen was the first to reach the peak of the Thousand Autumn Mountain with his movement technique. I, Mo Yun, am not convinced that you gave him a gold token. I, Li Xiaoqiu, am not convinced either. The others voiced out their dissatisfaction. If only one or two of them were not convinced, the emissary naturally wouldn't care. But now, the other 19 people were not convinced. The emissary glanced at Fang Chen. Just as he was about to speak, the latter spoke first. What do you want? Chen-ph, fight with me. If you can defeat me, no. If you can withstand 10 moves from me, I will admit your ability, Mo Yun said coldly. The onlookers were deep in thought. Everyone knew that Lin Chen was a rogue cultivator. In terms of cultivation techniques and resources, he was definitely not as good as Mo Yun. But now, Mo Yun wanted to use these advantages to humiliate Fang Chen. 10 moves. Fang Chen laughed. Kind people were often bullied. It seemed that there were bullies everywhere. Since that was the case, he would beat them until they were terrified. Sure. Fang Chen agreed. Mo Yun looked at the emissary and the latter nodded. In that case, let's have a spar. The emissary drew a circle in the square with his palm. You guys can spar in this circle. Whoever leaves the circle first will lose. Fang Chen stepped into the circle. Mo Yun snorted coldly and stood in front of him. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Mo Yun said. In his opinion, it was fine to let Lin Chen have 10 moves. It's too troublesome. Fang Chen shook his head. He didn't want to waste time. If everyone wanted to challenge him, wouldn't he be exhausted? Moreover, that wouldn't have a deterrent effect. Moreover, if he wanted to get in touch with the core of the Devouring Demons clan as soon as possible, he had to display heaven-defying talent to attract the attention of the higher-ups. What do you mean? Mo Yun berated. Fang Chen pointed at Li Xiaoqiu. Both of you, come at me together. As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned. Even the emissary was stunned. He looked at Fang Chen in shock, thinking that he had heard wrongly. What kind of joke is this? Lin Chen wants to fight 2 people at once. Chen-ph, does he really think that he's invincible after getting first place in the selection? He's too arrogant. Many people thought that Lin Chen was too arrogant. Even the emissary shook his head slightly, a look of disappointment in his eyes. He was too arrogant. Such a person wouldn't be able to go far on the path of cultivation. However, he didn't interrupt the spar. Are you insulting me? Mo Yun glared. If he and Li Xiaoqiu teamed up, they could even fight against a Saint Emperor. What was Lin Chen to them? What right did he have to make them team up? Li Xiaoqiu's face darkened as he clenched his fists. One could imagine the anger in his heart. Young people nowadays are too arrogant. Patriarch Mo smiled while stroking his beard. Yeah, they think that they're invincible just because they're proud. Patriarch Li shook his head. They secretly observed the emissary's expression and realized that the latter was unhappy. They were secretly delighted. If Lin Chen was defeated in this battle, if that was the case, his future would be ruined. Insulting you? Fang Chen was sleepy. I'm giving you a chance. You're courting death. Mo Yun attacked. He stomped his foot and instantly came to Fang Chen's side. His angry attack went straight for Fang Chen's head. This attack was filled with killing intent. Get lost. Fang Chen didn't move, allowing Mo Yun's attack to get close. Seeing that it was about to hit Fang Chen's head, Mo Yun was secretly delighted. However, at this moment, all of a sudden, he felt a terrifying power that blotted out the sky and covered the earth coming straight at him. He subconsciously changed the trajectory of his fist, wanting to block it. However, boom! A deafening sound rang out. Out of everyone's expectations, Mo Yun was directly sent flying. Bang! There were signs of cracks on the ground. Mo Yun's throat moved as he spat out a mouthful of blood. You deserve to die. Mo Yun bared his teeth. Chapter 3644. At this moment, everyone realized how powerful Lin Chen was. This Mo family's genius, Mo Yun, was sent flying with a single blow. This explosive news instantly swept through the entire square. Everyone was astonished by this. It was too shocking. In the past, the title of Thousand Autumn City's strongest genius had always been fought between Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu. But today, the strength that Lin Chen displayed was not weaker than the two of them. Moreover, when they thought of the Thousand Autumn Mountains selection, Lin Chen's incredible movement technique, it was too shocking. Mo Yun underestimated his opponent. Lin Chen's sneak attack is nothing. That's right, if Mo Yun fights seriously, Lin Chen will definitely lose. Just watch, Lin Chen has completely angered Mo Yun, he's dead for sure. Of course. There were also some people who expressed different opinions. They still thought that Mo Yun's strength was much stronger than Lin Chen's. Everything that happened just now was just Lin Chen's luck. The fist was the absolute truth. Luck could not always be there. The emissary narrowed his eyes, as if deep in thought. As for the Li family and Mo family, their faces were somewhat solemn. I'm going to kill you. Mo Yun stood up, erupting with a vast amount of power, and rushed towards Fang Chen. The two of you can come together. Fang Chen's lazy voice sounded. Since that's the case, don't blame us for having an unfair advantage. Li Xiaoqiu naturally realized Lin Chen's strength, and to be safe, he decided to join forces with Mo Yun to deal with Lin Chen. As long as they defeated him and made him lose face. At that time, the emissary would naturally give up on him and choose the two of them. Okay. Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu looked at each other, and they could see the killing intent in each other's eyes. The two of them cooperated very well, one attacking the upper body, the other attacking the lower body. Their attacks were very vicious, and they both had the intention of crippling Fang Chen. He's dead. Everyone shook their heads. With the two geniuses joining forces, apart from the top Saint Emperors, who could beat them? Just a lone cultivator, Lin Chen? Impossible. The battle seemed to have already ended. It was just that some people did not believe it. Too weak, being on the same team as the two of you is simply an insult to martial arts. Fang Chen said coldly, from today onwards, the #1 genius of Thousand Autumn City belongs to me, Fang Chen. As soon as he finished speaking, he activated the energy in his body. With a flash, he shuttled through the void and appeared behind the two of them in an instant. What an exquisite movement technique. The emissary's eyes lit up. Even he was a little surprised. Boom. Without any complicated means, Fang Chen simply threw out a punch. A terrifying fist radiance instantly condensed in the air. Radiance circulated within the fist radiance. Under his control, the enormous fist aura with unparalleled power directly bombarded the two of them. Crack. Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu were unable to put up any resistance and were instantly suppressed. A crisp sound rang out in the air. Following that, the two screams of agony could be heard. Rip. Blood splattered in the air as two figures crashed to the ground in a sorry state. Everyone looked over and gasped in shock. At this moment, Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun were covered in blood. They were lying on the ground, on the verge of death. Most importantly, the yin-yang origin in their bodies had been shattered. This means that, from now on, they were crippled. Everyone's heart trembled at this. They raised their heads. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back as he shuttled through the void. Behind him, a brilliant golden light flickered as if he was a Buddha walking in the mortal world. Lin Chen? How can he be so strong? Everyone was shocked by Fang Chen's strength. Even the emissary was a little moved. Lin Chen, I want you dead. Suddenly, two furious roars roused everyone from their stupor. They turned around and saw that the two patriarchs had attacked in anger. Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun were geniuses that the two families had spent all their resources to cultivate. But now, their yin-yang origin had been shattered by Lin Chen. All their efforts had been for naught. How could they not be angry? The two patriarchs were 6th-level Saint Emperors. The moment they attacked, the entire void was suppressed. Even if I die 100 times, it will not be enough to appease the hatred in my heart, Patriarch Mo said coldly. However, stop. A slightly dignified voice spread out. The emissary waved his hand and stopped the two patriarchs. Li Xiaoqiu and Mo Yun only have themselves to blame. The emissary said, I hope that the two patriarchs can consider the big picture. Lin Chen is already a member of Xiao Yarrow Manor. What he meant was, if they insisted on attacking Lin Chen, then they would be enemies with Xiao Yarrow Manor. Instantly, the two patriarchs' faces turned gloomy. They were stunned on the spot and did not dare to attack. Even if they were given 100 guts, they would not dare to attack the people of Xiao Yarrow Manor. Xiao Yarrow Manor was a powerful existence. One order from him could turn Chenqiu City into ruins. Not to mention the two families that were struggling at death's door. Damn it. Patriarch Li clenched his fists. He was furious, but he suppressed it in the end. Lord Emissary, you are right. Earlier, it was our Mo clan's recklessness. It was Mo Yun who provoked us first. He only has himself to blame. Our Mo clan will naturally punish him. After saying that, the Mo clan's patriarch left with Mo Yun. The emissary nodded. He looked at Fang Chen with satisfaction. Pack up and follow me. The selection of Chenqiu Mountain had ended and his mission was completed. He was in a good mood. There is no need to pack up. We can leave now, Fang Chen said. Watching the two leave, the people in the square felt like they were in a dream. Oh my God, was what I just saw real? When did Lin Chen become so powerful? It's too scary. Even the emissary is speaking for Lin Chen. Of course, what shocked everyone the most was Lin Chen's fist crippled Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu's yin and yang energies. Just imagining it made them shudder. The news quickly spread throughout Chenqiu City. Everyone was talking about the relationship between Lin Chen and the 9-year snow. Some people even thought that the 9-year snow was the heaven and earth's recognition of Lin Chen. Lin Chen's potential attracted the heaven's praise. Therefore, the heaven and earth phenomenon descended. When this news came out, it caused a wave of shock. Although Lin Chen had left, his legend had been circulating in Chenqiu City. As for Mo family and Li family, seemingly influenced by the emissary, the city lord mansion began to suppress the two families. Not long after, the two families had completely declined. Of course, this was a story for later. Half a month later, Fang Chen followed the emissary to the core of Carefree Manor, Carefree City. Lin Chen, you are the champion of the Chenqiu Mountain selection. Cultivate well and your future will be limitless, the emissary said. Fang Chen nodded. I will arrange a place for you to stay. When Lord Carefree Duke comes out of seclusion, he will meet you. Fang Chen's heart tightened. In the battle of the demonic Skyfire domain, he killed Carefree Duke's son, Xiao Mu, in front of his spiritual body. Chapter 3645. The Carefree Mansion encompassed 12 cities. Carefree Duke was one of the 27 generals under the demon-devouring clan leader. As the core of the Carefree Mansion, Carefree City was majestic. The demon-devouring clan could be seen everywhere in the city. Moreover, Fang Chen could clearly feel that the demon-devouring bloodline in these demon-devouring clan members was much stronger than the demon-devouring clan in the Thousand Autumns city. Standing on the street, Su Mo looked around. Fang Chen sighed. The Origin world was indeed a holy land for cultivation. The Origin energy was abundant, and the heavenly way operated perfectly. Martial artists could comprehend the origin of the 5 elements. Compared to the chaotic realm, this was heaven on earth. Unfortunately, this was the demon-devouring clan's lair. There were many enslaved humans on the street. These were some of the experts from the chaotic realm. They had entered the chaotic battlefield and disappeared. Su Mo did not expect to be captured and enslaved here. There was a courtyard in the northwest of Carefree City. Fang Chen was arranged to stay here. A human servant was serving him. Master, please have some tea. He could feel that the hands of the human servant were trembling. He was afraid that Fang Chen would be unhappy and kill him. You are not from the demon-devouring clan? Fang Chen asked deliberately. To be safe, his identity could not be exposed. We are living beings from the chaotic realm. We were captured and enslaved by the demon-devouring clan. The human servant told Fang Chen about his experience. After hearing this, Su Mo took out a healing elixir and threw it to the servant. Ah! The sudden appearance of the elixir made the human servants feel a little surprised. He looked at Fang Chen in shock. "For you." "Thank you, master." The human servant kept thanking him. After the servant left, Fang Chen looked at the sky with deep eyes. The burden on his shoulders was so heavy that it made it hard for him to breathe. However, the more it was like this, the more he wanted to save the world. If the demon-devouring clan leader's plan succeeded, the world would be completely dead. The chaotic realm would also become history. After understanding the evil of the demon-devouring clan, Fang Chen hated them to the core. "One day, I'll flatten the origin world," Fang Chen said to himself. For the next few days, Fang Chen had been cultivating in seclusion. A few days later, his cultivation level rose to the level of a second-level holy king. Relying on the powerful cultivation memories of his previous life, his cultivation had no bottlenecks at all. Moreover, with the help of the cultivation environment in the Chaos Realm, he was able to comprehend the origin again. Not long after, he comprehended his first origin. The origin of fire. This was also the first origin that he had comprehended in his previous life. Wang. Fang Chen flicked his finger, and flames erupted from his fingertip, condensing into a fire dragon in the air. The fire dragon opened its bloody mouth and roared, its aura shaking the heavens. As expected, the quintessence comprehended in the origin world was much more profound and powerful than in the primal chaos realm. Thud, thud, thud. Someone knocked on the door. With a thought, Fang Chen restrained his aura. The emissary arrived. "Lin Chen." The emissary smiled. "I've reported your situation. The Marquis is very happy and will meet you personally soon," the emissary said. "However, before that, the first place in the selection of the 12 cities will have to undergo a screening." "Oh." Fang Chen listened attentively. It turned out that, in addition to the selection in Chenqiu City, the other 11 cities also had selections. The first place in each city's selection would be the focus of the Xiaoyaro Mansion. However, before meeting the Xiaoyaro Mansion, the 12 of them would have to compete with each other to determine the first place in the selection. The Xiaoyaro Mansion would reward them handsomely. You have to seize this opportunity. Don't dream about the first place, but the top 3 is still possible. He was the one who brought Fang Chen back. The higher the ranking, the more benefits he would receive. Therefore, he analyzed the first place in the selection of the other 11 cities for Fang Chen. At the same time, he told him the secret techniques they cultivated, the origin they comprehended, the weapons they used, and other detailed information. Moreover, he also set a goal for Fang Chen. That was the top 3. The 12 people would fight in pairs. As long as he won 2 matches, he would be able to enter the top 3. Of course, those who could become the first place in the selection naturally had extraordinary means. It was not easy to win. Moreover, among the 12 people, Fang Chen's cultivation was the lowest. You don't have to be disappointed. With your cultivation, if you can enter the top 3, the Xiaoyaro Mansion will reward you handsomely. The emissary comforted him. In fact, even if Fang Chen couldn't enter the top 3, the Xiaoyaro Mansion would also meet him. Moreover, the Xiaoyaro Mansion placed great importance on the first place in the selection of Chenqiu City. After all, there was a phenomenon in the sky and 9 years of snow. This was a very strange thing. When does it start? Fang Chen asked. It starts in the afternoon, the emissary said. I'll take you there now. Along the way, the emissary kept reminding Fang Chen. If he faced Xiao He or Jing Fei, he would admit defeat directly. Of these 2 people, one was the first place in the selection of Carefree City and was also the descendant of the Xiaoyaro Mansion. He had endless cultivation resources since he was young. As for Jing Fei, he was the first place in the selection of Flying Cloud City. His strength was second only to Xiao He. These 2 people were also the most popular among the 12 people in this competition. After a while, Fang Chen and the emissary arrived at the square. It was already crowded here. Many people were the top 20 of the selection of the major cities. However, they were not the first place. Therefore, after coming to Carefree City, they were not valued at all. Humph, we are also in the top 20 of the selection. Why do we favor the first place so much? That's right. Compared to us, they're only slightly stronger. They're truly lucky. The rules of the carefree mansion have always been like this. Many people were filled with helplessness. They racked their brains to enter the top 20 of the selection. However, after coming to the carefree mansion, they realized that the top 20 of the selection was not important. What was really valued was the first place in the selection. As long as we are given the same resources, we will not be worse than them. As they spoke, the first place in the selection of the 12 cities had already arrived at the center of the square. There was an arena here. A white-haired butler was in charge of this competition. The 12 of you should know the purpose of this competition, the butler said. Now, we will begin to draw lots. You will fight in pairs. After the first round, 6 people will be eliminated. The 6 people who were eliminated will be sent to the military camp to hone themselves. After the second round, the 3 people who are eliminated will be given the position of general. As soon as this was said, the square was filled with exclamations. In the military camp, a general was already a very high position, second only to the commander-in-chief. They did not expect that the 3 people who were eliminated in the second round would be given the position of general. However, everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation. What were the rewards for the top 3? The third place will be given the position of deputy commander-in-chief. The second place will be given the position of commander-in-chief. The first place, the butler paused for a moment. The square was instantly silent. Even Fang Chen was a little curious. Chapter 3646. Soon, the drawing of lots ended. Lu Chen drew number 12, which meant that his match would be the last one. The drawing of lots has ended. The competition officially begins. The butler announced. Everyone's gaze uniformly fell on the arena. The first place of the 12 represented the top talents of the younger generation of the Xiao Yaro mansion. No matter who it was, the battle would be very exciting. Number 1, Jing Fei, stepped onto the arena. His opponent was number 7. This guy is too unlucky. He met the seeded contestant, Jing Fei, in the first round. Yeah, Jing Fei is the second most popular candidate after Xiao He. I wonder how many moves he can take from Jing Fei. Everyone knew the result of this battle. They were discussing how many moves Jing Fei would take to defeat his opponent. Boom. Jing Fei stood in the ring with his hands behind his back with an imposing manner. He stared at his opponent and said in a deep voice, "Admit defeat. Don't waste your time." His voice contained a terrifying power that shook people's hearts. "H, you're the first place of the selection. Am I not?" The person snorted and attacked. Whoosh. Jing Fei made his move. He lightly threw out a punch. Dong. A deafening sound was heard as his opponent was smashed to the ground. Jing Fei wins. The crowd cheered. Jing Fei was too strong. He defeated his opponent in one move. The rest of the contestants looked at each other with worry in their eyes. If Jing Fei was so strong, how strong would Xiao He be? For a moment, the atmosphere was filled with sadness. Number 2, Xiao He, against number 8. What was shocking was that Xiao He didn't even make a move. He just stood on the arena and defeated his opponent without a fight. I admit defeat. His opponent knew that Xiao He was too strong. Once he made a move, it was hard to say if he could survive. Instead of that, he might as well admit defeat. Number 3, against number 9. Number 4, against number 10. Number 5, against number 11. The next 3 matches weren't as exciting as the first 2. Overall, they were just average. The last match, number 6, Shu Gui, against number 12, Lin Chen. Kid, you're not my opponent. Although Shu Gui wasn't the best of the 12, he had investigated the other contestants. He concluded that Lin Chen was the weakest of the 12. When he picked Lin Chen, he was secretly happy. At least he could get into the top 6. That was enough. If he was lucky, he might be able to enter the top 3. Fang Chen didn't say anything. He was too lazy to waste his breath. I'll give you 3 moves. Seeing Fang Chen's attitude, Xu Guang mocked. No need. If he was allowed 3 moves, Shu Gui would not even have the chance to attack. Mph, how arrogant. Thousand Autumn City had always been at the bottom of the carefree manners hierarchy. How many years had it been since they had produced a genius? Just because you say so? Shu Wang said, I, Shu Wang, am a man of my word. I said I'll let you have 3 moves, so I'll let you have 3 moves. Is that so? Fang Chen nodded and said no more. His figure flashed and appeared in front of Shu Da in an instant. Boom. A punch landed on Shu Yu's body, and the latter's defense instantly shattered. Shu Guang took a few steps back and stabilized himself. HMPH, insignificant skill. Boom. The second move was still a single punch. This punch forced Sunking Bighead back, and his internal organs were shaken. Shu Guang frowned. Fang Chen was much stronger than he had imagined. However, since he had already said it, he naturally could not take it back. There's still one last move. You have to seize the opportunity. Shu Guang mocked. However, out of everyone's expectations, Fang Chen didn't throw another punch. Instead, he strolled in front of Shu Da. Under the gaze of everyone, he stretched out his finger and lightly tapped on Shu Guang's body. Bang! Shu Guang's body directly exploded, and his flesh and blood became a mess. A miserable scream came out from Shu Guang's mouth. Interesting. Jing Fei smiled. Among the people present, only he and Xiao He could see through Fang Chen's means. The first 2 punches had shattered Shu Guang's internal organs. It caused his energy to become chaotic, and in the end, with a light tap, the chaotic energy instantly exploded. This was the result of Shu Guang acting cool. The square was filled with exclamations. Many people did not know Fang Chen at the beginning, but after this battle, Lin Chen's name had spread. The first round of the competition ended. Lin Chen had surprised everyone, and even the butler praised him. Soon, the results of the second round came out. There was almost no suspense in the 3 rounds. In the first round, Xiao He won without a fight. In the second round, the 2 fought fiercely, and the winner was finally decided after 2 hours. In the third round, Jing Fei fought against Fang Chen. No one doubted that Jing Fei would lose the competition. Everyone was pessimistic about Fang Chen, and they did not think that he had the ability to end the competition. However, after the battle began, Fang Chen's performance stunned everyone. He used his finger as a sword and displayed the invincible sword technique. This was the invincible sword technique that he had recondensed after coming back from the reincarnation road. With his attainments in the sword Dao and the recondensed invincible sword technique. At the Saint King level. Invincible. Swoosh. He stabbed out with his finger, and streaks of sword light danced in the sky. Bang! 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 In the beginning, Jing Fei could still resist, but soon he was exhausted. Damn it, what kind of sword technique is this? Jing Fei was furious and desperately tried to resist. Swoosh. In the end, he was still stabbed by a streak of sword light, and blood spurted out. Silence. There was a deathly silence. Everyone stared at Fang Chen with their mouths agape. He had created a miracle and defeated the seeded contestant, Jing Fei, to enter the top 3. How is this possible? After a long time, exclamations came from the crowd. He actually blocked Jing Fei from the Flying Cloud City from entering the top 3. It's unbelievable. His sword technique is invincible among his peers. In the crowd, praises for Fang Chen were endless. The butler's eyes shone with golden light, and he was a little moved. What an exquisite sword technique. It was hard for him to imagine that a young man could display such an ancient sword technique. Jing Fei, you deserve to lose. The messenger who brought Jing Fei back sighed. Xiao He finally began to look at Fang Chen seriously. His sword technique is not bad. It's finally not so boring. I have an opponent, Xiao He said. After 2 rounds of the competition, the top 3 had been decided. This meant that Fang Chen was at least the deputy commander. The martial artists from the Thousand Autumn City who were dissatisfied with Fang Chen were shocked and speechless. After 2 rounds of the competition, the top 3 have been decided. The butler said. The final competition will determine the ranking of the 3 of you. The competition system was very simple. It was a challenge system. Anyone could challenge the other. As long as they were in an invincible position, they would be worthy of being first in the overall selection. Xiao He stood with his hands behind his back, looking very indifferent. The other person looked away from Xiao He with fear and landed on Fang Chen. Lin Chen, I want to challenge you. Only by defeating Lin Chen could he secure the second place. He would get the position of commander that he still coveted. I've reserved the first place. Fang Chen was very domineering. You two discuss who will be second. Chapter 36-47. First, I've already reserved it. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back, his expression indifferent. It was as if everything had nothing to do with him. He stood there like a god of war with an imposing aura. Haha, you're quite arrogant. Another person mocked. Xiao He glanced at Fang Chen and did not say anything. However, everyone knew that he was angry. They were worried for Lin Chen who dared to anger Xiao He. Even the messenger who brought Fang Chen here was a little anxious. This guy is provoking Xiao He. The other messengers smiled meaningfully. I don't want to repeat what I said. Don't waste time. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave the arena. Arrogant. Another person's face was completely gloomy. He roared and attacked like thunder. No matter what, he was still a genius of the city. But he was ignored by Lin Chen of the Thousand Autumn City. He was very angry. Heart of heavenly fire. He soared into the air, his entire body shrouded in a dazzling light as he used his strongest move. As soon as this move was used, it attracted a lot of exclamations. However, Fang Chen did not think much of it. I've given you a chance. He used his finger as a sword and used the invincible sword technique again. The sky-severing alchemy technique was too shocking. It was a supreme technique. If it was accidentally recognized, it would be troublesome. At the Saint King level, the invincible sword technique could sweep through everything. Swoosh. Dazzling sword light crisscrossed. In a flash, the person who attacked Fang Chen was pierced by the sword light and fell to the ground. He got up and wanted to fight again. But he was shocked to find that he had no combat strength left. He looked at Fang Chen in horror. At this time, the onlookers also realized how powerful Fang Chen was. Oh my god, when did Lin Chen become so powerful? He's too strong. He defeated his opponent with one sword and entered the top two. I wonder who is stronger between him and Xiao He. At first, people were still doubting Lin Chen's strength. However, after this battle, even Xiao He started to pay attention to him. He's worthy of me making a move. However, that was that. Xiao He was still very arrogant. Lin Chen's strength was only worthy of him making a move. Make your move, Fang Chen said. I never go back on my words. First, he booked it. Xiao He could only be second. But I also want to be number one. Xiao He laughed sinisterly. Since you've met me, Xiao He, it's destined that all your efforts will be in vain. Is that so? Fang Chen didn't say anything more and directly attacked. After recomprehending the invincible swordsmanship, Fang Chen's comprehension of swordsmanship had also undergone a major transformation. The power of the invincible sword technique was unstoppable. Whoosh, whoosh. Fang Chen swung his sword again and again. The sword light crisscrossed, giving people a very oppressive feeling. Everyone trembled. As it turned out, Lin Chen had not used his full strength at all. Those martial artists from Thousand Autumn City were incomparably shocked. Back then, Mo Yun and Li Xiaoqiu had actually doubted Lin Chen's first place in the selection. Now that he thought about it, it was truly laughable. How could people like them be mentioned in the same breath as Lin Chen? In a moment, the battle had entered a white-hot stage. It had to be said that as the descendant of Lord Xiaoyaro, Xiao He had countless cultivation resources since he was young. His strength was much stronger than ordinary saints. Even Fang Chen had to use his full strength. You're very strong. After a collision, Xiao He retreated, stabilized his body, and stared at Fang Chen. If you're willing to follow me, I'll give you a bigger stage and cultivation resources. Xiao He cherished talent and wanted to recruit him. This person had great potential. If he could recruit him, he would definitely be a great help in the future. He might even help him defeat other competitors and become the next lord of Xiaoyaro Manor. No one could refuse this temptation. Sorry, you're not qualified, Fang Chen said mercilessly. Indeed, in his previous life, he had already cultivated to the peak. Although he was only a 6th-level holy emperor, his combat strength was comparable to an invincible saint. In the chaotic realm, he was considered a top expert. Moreover, Xiao He was from the demon-devouring clan, the natural enemy of the chaotic realm. His goal was to find the demon-devouring bloodline with extremely high concentration and then complete the perfect bloodline. With this, he could destroy the demon-devouring clan, revitalize the chaotic realm. Therefore, they were destined to be enemies. You're courting death. Xiao He was furious and attacked like lightning. However, no matter how he attacked, Fang Chen could easily resolve it. Not long after, an angry roar was heard. Everyone looked over and discovered that Xiao He had actually reverted back to his original form. A gigantic demon-swallowing beast opened its bloody mouth and released an unparalleled evil power. You're dead for provoking me, Xiao He. The demon-devouring beast spoke in human language, stomped its hooves, and charged directly at Fang Chen. Invincible sword technique. Fang Chen tiptoed and came above the demon-devouring beast's head, performing the invincible sword technique. Kaboom! The two fought fiercely. On the top floor of a tower, an elder in brocade clothes stood by the window, looking down. The battle between Fang Chen and Xiao He was in full view. To be able to fight to a draw with Xiao He is indeed extraordinary. The elder stroked his beard. Most importantly, he has not activated the demon-devouring bloodline. Sir, do you want to take in a disciple? The servant asked in a low voice. The elder laughed and appeared in front of the arena in the next instant. Whoosh! The old man casually separated the two people who were fighting fiercely. The battle ends here, the elder said. In this competition, Lin Chen is first and Xiao He is second. As soon as he said this, it caused an uproar. Many people didn't recognize the old man. Who exactly was he? Seeing this, the housekeeper on the rostrum hurriedly said, so it's Lord Demon Mountain. The square was in an uproar. Demon Mountain. The expert who had once killed millions of sinners in one breath. It's actually Demon Mountain? Why would he come to our Xiaoyaro mansion? The sound of discussion was endless. Demon Mountain's strength was not inferior to Xiaoyaro Hu's. Since he had appeared, the competition naturally would not continue. I'm not convinced. Although Xiao He was wary of Demon Mountain, he was not convinced. If the battle continues, I will definitely be able to suppress him. Demon Mountain shook his head. The two of you are equal in strength. Even if the battle continues, there will be no winner. The reason why I said that he is first is because he has not activated the demon-devouring bloodline. Once he enters the demon blood pool and activates the demon-devouring bloodline, his strength will definitely rise to another level. The housekeeper and the others nodded. However, Xiao He continued. Not everyone can activate the demon-devouring bloodline. Indeed, there were many failures. Otherwise, the demon-devouring clan would not have thousands of branches. Some branches no longer had the demon-devouring bloodline. However, their ancestors were pure demon-devouring clan members. Little guy, you don't have to say any more. Even if he gets first place, it will not affect you. Demon Mountain smiled. He turned around and looked at Fang Chen. Chapter 3648. Originally, the reward for first place was the possibility of becoming Xiaoyaro Hu's disciple. It was just a possibility. But now, Fang Chen had taken first place. But Demonic Mountain Zun wanted to take him away. There was silence in the square. Everyone's eyes were filled with envy. That was Demonic Mountain Zun, one of the top experts in the Source world. His reputation was much greater than Xiaoyaro Hu's. The most important thing was, he had cultivated for countless years and became famous very early. There were even rumors that he was one of the first to leave the Source world and went to the Sinnerland to kill. Fang Chen was a little surprised. He was not in a hurry to answer. Sure enough, Demonic Mountain Zun was a little anxious. Fang Chen's potential was too strong. If he had a good teacher to guide him, he would definitely become a top expert in the source world in the future. He even had a chance to become the right-hand man of the demon-devouring clan patriarch. This was a supreme honor. At that time, as Fang Chen's master, he should be respected by everyone. Lin Chen, you don't have to worry. Since I am taking you away, I will definitely teach you well. Demonic Mountain Zun promised. If you are willing, I will take you as my last disciple. As soon as these words came out, the entire square was in an uproar. Countless martial artists exclaimed. Even the few messengers and stewards were shocked. Demonic Mountain Zun's last disciple? This was a great honor. In the territory of Xiaoyaro Manor, there was almost no one in the younger generation who could catch Demonic Mountain Zun's eye. But now, Demonic Mountain Zun wanted to take this guy as his last disciple. Before you, I had taken 3 disciples. Demonic Mountain Zun said. The first disciple, Saber Saint, died in the Sinner Land. The second disciple, Demon Hand, died in the Carnate Source World. The third disciple, Extinction Dragon, is still missing. As he spoke, Demonic Mountain Zun's mood was very low. However, the people in the square were already shocked to the point of no return. Oh my god, Saber Saint is actually Demonic Mountain Zun's first disciple? Demon Hand, the one who was angry for a woman and did not hesitate to fall into the demon path to save his beloved. Too terrifying. Everyone thought. Demonic Mountain Zun had no disciples. But today, they found out. Venerated Fiend Mountain's means were much stronger than they had imagined. These 3 disciples were all experts whose names shook the entire Origin world. Especially the eldest disciple, the Sword Saint, who had once killed 9 invincible saints with a single slash. What a powerful battle record. Unfortunately, he had mysteriously disappeared. Now, people finally understood. It turned out that the Sword Saint perished in the land of the sinners. What a pity. If we don't get rid of the sinners, our devouring demon clan won't be at ease. For a moment, everyone was infuriated. Lin Chen remained silent. The Demon Mountain Venerate was waiting for his response. Just agree. Do you still need to think about such a good thing? If I were Lin Chen, I would have knelt down and acknowledged him as my master. That's right. Out of the 3 disciples, 2 of them have fallen and the whereabouts of the last one are unknown. That is to say, if Lin Chen were to acknowledge a master, he would be the only disciple of the Demonic Mountain Reverend. The butler's heart was in turmoil. He even sent a message to Duke Xiaoyao. Unfortunately, the latter was in seclusion, trying to break through to a higher realm. He had no time to be distracted and did not check the message at all. The emissary who had brought Fang Chen here secretly sent a message to Fang Chen. Lin Chen, hurry up and agree. Everyone's eyes were focused on Fang Chen. I already have a master. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were in an uproar. He actually refused to acknowledge the Demonic Mountain Venerate as his master. This. Everyone could not imagine. Some people hated Lin Chen, while others mocked him for being stupid. In fact, the reason why Fang Chen refused was that he did not want to acknowledge a demon devourer as his master. In the future, they were destined to meet on the battlefield. He did not want to leave behind an inner demon. In that case, I won't force you. The Demonic Mountain Venerate restrained his expression and said coldly, I wish you good luck. As soon as he finished speaking, the Demonic Mountain Venerate's figure flashed and left directly, leaving behind a dumbfounded crowd. Cough, cough. After a long time, the butler coughed lightly, pulling everyone's thoughts back. I announce that this competition is over. In the end, the first place was awarded to Xiao He. After all, the latter was the direct descendant of Duke Xiaoyao. As for Lin Chen, without the Demonic Mountain Venerate as his backer, the butler was naturally fearless. Humph. Xiao He snorted coldly, his face full of mockery. On the other hand, Lin Chen was very calm, as if everything was within his expectations. From today onwards, Lin Chen will be the commander of the Xiaoyaro army. The butler handed a token to Lin Chen. The most powerful force of the Xiaoyaro mansion was the Xiaoyaro army. Countless resources of the Xiaoyaro mansion were provided to the Xiaoyaro army so that they could be of use in times of war. It was no exaggeration to say that. The position of commander was second only to Duke Xiaoyaro and some of the higher-ups of the Xiao family in the territory of the Xiaoyaro mansion. Congratulations! The messenger cupped his fists. After the competition, Lin Chen gave him a lot of surprises. Go back and rest. Duke Xiaoyaro will summon the top 3 in 3 days, the butler said. Soon, everyone in the square had left. Before Xiao He left, he came to Fang Chen and provoked him. The battle between us has just begun. Fang Chen glanced at him, disapproving. On the way back, the messenger reminded him, Xiao He is vengeful. You suppressed him in the competition and stole the limelight. He has a grudge in his heart, so you have to be careful. After all, the Xiaoyaro army belonged to the Xiaoyaro mansion. With Xiao He's influence, it was easy for him to hinder Fang Chen in the Xiaoyaro army. At that time, it would delay the military. If Duke Xiaoyaro was angry, Lin Chen, as the commander, would definitely be punished. Don't worry, Fang Chen said. He wouldn't stay in the Xiaoyaro mansion for too long. After getting the demon-devouring bloodline, he would leave. Have a good rest. I'll take you to see Duke Xiaoyaro in 3 days. In the courtyard. Fang Chen raised his hand, and there was a trace of blood on his fingertip. This was Xiao He's blood. Buzz. Fang Chen activated the power in his body and refined this trace of blood. After a while, the blood was successfully refined. Fang Chen clearly felt that the perfect bloodline seemed to have transformed. As expected, Fang Chen was slightly moved. The demon-devouring bloodline was the last condition for the perfect bloodline transformation. Unfortunately, although Xiao He was a direct descendant of Duke Xiaoyaro, the concentration of the demon-devouring bloodline was still not enough. Fang Chen's eyes flickered. I wonder if the concentration of Duke Xiaoyao's bloodline is enough. Then, he shook his head. He couldn't bite off more than he could chew for the time being. The plan had to succeed in one go. Once it failed, the chaotic realm would face a disaster of destruction. Therefore, he was not in a hurry. He could still wait. He had to wait for the best time to act. The most important thing now is to improve my cultivation. Fang Chen muttered to himself. This body was too weak. He had to practice what he had learned in his previous life. At least, he had to have the power to fight against a saint. It was a magnificent mansion. Xiao He was angry. Young master, we have investigated Lin Chen's information. You mean? Lin Chen is an itinerant cultivator in the Thousand Autumns city. He used to be ordinary, but after the 9 years of snow, his strength skyrocketed. Xiao He frowned. Yes, so I suspect that he is related to the heaven and earth phenomenon, the servant said. Ha ha. Xiao He smiled sinisterly. Chapter 3649. An audience with Duke Xiaoyaro. When the messenger brought Fang Chen to the mansion, Xiao He and Yi Long were already there. Obviously, Yi Long was already with Xiao He. He glanced at Fang Chen but did not bow. After all, he was now the deputy commander of the Carefree Army, and Fang Chen was the commander, his direct superior. He was using his power to bully others. Yi Long the messenger said coldly, "Why don't you bow to the commander?" Just as Yi Long was about to speak, Xiao He spoke. Uncle Liu, you haven't met the Duke yet. Lin Chen's position as the commander is unworthy of his title. It's only right that Yi Long doesn't bow to him, Xiao He said. Yi Long nodded in agreement. Fang Chen didn't care about this. His purpose of coming here was to obtain the extremely dense demon-devouring bloodline. He wasn't fighting for power with Yi Long and the others. The Duke summons you. The butler called out. Don't talk so much after you go in. Just answer whatever the Duke asks you, the messenger said in a low voice. After a while, Fang Chen and the other 2 entered the main hall. In the main hall, as soon as they entered, they felt extremely oppressed. This aura was familiar. On the throne at the top, there was an old man in plain clothes. If someone didn't know him, they would think that he was a sickly old man. However, he was the famous Duke Xiaoyaro. He was the right-hand man of the demon-devouring clan and was in charge of the territory of the Xiaoyaro Palace. Greetings, Duke. The three bowed slightly. Xiaoyaro who stared at the three of them. His cloudy eyes seemed to be able to see through them. Even Fang Chen's heart tightened. But soon, he felt relieved. The Supreme Master had personally opened the reincarnation passage and helped him to be reborn in the origin world. This was a plan that many top giants of the chaotic realm had painstakingly planned for countless years. How could a mere Duke Xiaoyaro discover him? Huh! When Duke Xiaoyaro saw Fang Chen, he exclaimed softly. Obviously, he didn't expect that someone who could enter the top 3 of the overall selection hadn't even activated the demon-devouring bloodline. He asked, "You're from the Thousand Autumns City?" Fang Chen nodded. Xiaoyaro who looked at him with a serious expression. Xiao He and Yi Long were filled with resentment. Lin Chen had actually stolen their limelight. Xiao He, as a disciple of the Xiao clan, you have countless resources for cultivation. I am very happy that you were able to get first place. From today onwards, you will be the 38th disciple of Deputy Xiao Yao. Thank you, Master. Xiao He knelt down with a thud, extremely agitated. The Xiao family was a huge family, and every disciple dreamed of becoming a disciple of Xiao Yarohu. And now, Xiao He had finally succeeded. All right, you can leave now. Xiao Yarohu waved his hand, and Xiao He left the hall. Lin Chen, as second place in the selection, I bestow upon you the Commander's Golden Seal. From now on, you will be in charge of the Carefree Army. I hope you will not disappoint me. Fang Chen put away the Commander-in-Chief's Golden Seal. After that, Duke Xiaoyaro bestowed the Deputy Commander-in-Chief Golden Seal to Yi Long. When the two were about to leave, Xiaoyaro who called out to Lin Chen. Lin Chen, you stay. Yi Long's face was filled with envy, and his eyes were filled with jealousy. Do you have any orders for me to stay? Fang Chen asked. I have investigated your identity. You used to be an ordinary rogue cultivator in the Thousand Autumns City. Although your potential is not bad, you should not have grown to this extent. Xiaoyaro who said meaningfully. Not long ago, there was a strange phenomenon in the Thousand Autumns City, the 9-year snow. At this point, Xiaoyaro whose expression became more serious. I suspect that there is a relic of an expert. That is why I sent a messenger to select geniuses. Lin Chen's growth did not conform to common sense. It was suspicious. Can you tell me what kind of inheritance you have obtained? Fang Chen was stunned and quickly thought about it. Finally, he raised his finger and condensed his qi into a sword. Swoosh! A dazzling sword light danced in the void, emitting a shocking power. Even Duke Xiaoyaro was quite shocked. This, Xiaoyaro who was shocked. What an exquisite sword technique. This is definitely not a secret technique of the devouring demon clan. Could it be, Xiaoyaro who thought of a possibility? A sword technique from the chaotic realm? He was almost certain that this sword technique must have come from the chaotic realm. He stared at Fang Chen. This is the inheritance you have obtained. Fang Chen nodded. The Thousand Autumns City is very close to the chaotic battlefield. At that time, I was training in the Thousand Autumns mountain range. Suddenly, a dazzling sword light burst from the distant sky. I wanted to dodge, but my body was out of control. I was pierced by the sword light and then fainted. When I woke up, the chant of this sword technique was already engraved in my mind. Xiaoyaro who nodded. This sword technique is very mysterious. If you can comprehend it, it is possible for you to become an invincible sage. Xiaoyaro who did not suspect that Fang Chen was from the chaotic realm. After all, he had never come into contact with reincarnation. Therefore, he did not know. In the past, there had been inheritances from the chaotic battlefield from the chaotic realm. All right, you may leave. Xiaoyaro who rolled his eyes and said, cultivate well. When you step into the Holy Emperor realm, I will give you a drop of demon-devouring blood to help you activate your bloodline. Hearing this, Fang Chen was stunned. Buzz. Xiaoyaro who raised his palm and a drop of blood appeared. This drop of blood contained a strong demon-devouring aura. This is a drop of blood that I condensed with my own blood. I originally wanted to give it to my son, but unfortunately, Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. The son that Xiao Yarou Hu mentioned should be Xiao Mu, who he killed. You may leave. After Fang Chen left, the messenger walked in. Lord, the messenger said. Xiao Yarou Hu grinned and kept the drop of blood. Ever since Mu'er died, I have been thinking of ways to destroy the trash in the sinner's land. Now, after seeing Lin Chen, I have an idea. It turned out, Lin Chen had obtained the inheritance of the Chaotic Realm's sword technique and did not activate his demon-devouring bloodline. Xiao Yarou Hu came up with a plan. When Lin Chen's strength grew to a certain level, he would quietly send him to the Chaotic Realm and let him hide and secretly kill the living beings in the Chaotic Realm. When the time was right, he would kill them all. Is it reliable? The messenger asked. Everything is under control. Xiao Yarou Hu probably never dreamed of it. The Lin Chen that he wanted to use was the person who killed his son. Moreover, the purpose of coming here was to find the demon-devouring bloodline and completely destroy the demon-devouring clan. On the way back, Fang Chen was also deep in thought. He was worried that Xiao Yarou Hu would discover his identity. I don't think so. He deliberately said that he had obtained the inheritance of the sword technique so that he could clear his name. Otherwise, it would make Xiao Yarou Hu suspicious. I have to improve my cultivation as soon as possible. When he stepped into the Holy Emperor realm, he would be able to obtain a drop of Xiao Yarou Hu's blood. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. At this moment. Isn't this the commander? Yilong blocked Fang Chen's way. What's the matter? Yilong narrowed his eyes. I say, Commander, do you really not understand or are you pretending not to understand? Fang Chen frowned. If you have something to say it. If not, get out of my way. Yilong snorted coldly. Do you think that you can do whatever you want just because you are the commander? He took out a token from his bosom. Chapter 3650. Xiao his token. Fang Chen glanced at it, ignored Yilong, and left. Lin Chen. Seeing this, Yilong's face was gloomy and a little angry. You dare to openly disobey young Master Xiao his order? Fang Chen sneered. Trying to suppress him with a token? What a joke. Besides, even if Xiao he himself came, what could he do, let alone Xiao his token? Fang Chen stopped. All I know is that if you dare to continue to jabber on and on to me, I, as the commander-in-chief, will execute you on the spot. Hearing this, Yilong shrunk his neck. He clearly remembered the battle prowess that Lin Chen had displayed in the competition. It was simply too heaven-defying. With his strength, he was no match for Lin Chen. Humph, just wait and see. Yilong stomped his feet. After Xiao he became Lord Xiaoyao's disciple, his status was completely different. In the past, there were not many people in the Xiaoyao army who respected him, but now, seeing the token was the same as seeing the person. No one dared to ignore Xiao his token. This token was his trump card. Military Palace. It was located in a mountain range thousands of miles away from Xiaoyao City. Looking from the outside, it was an endless mountain range. But only when one walked in would one realize that the prosperity of the mountain range was no less than that of Xiaoyao City. The Xiaoyao army was under the jurisdiction of the military palace. And the commander was the biggest leader of the military palace. Today, in the military palace, several generals were walking around anxiously. It's a great shame to let a brat be the commander. That's right. We are all generals who have experienced hundreds of battles. We will not allow a brat to point fingers at us. We will jointly write a letter to the Lord Marquis asking him to dismiss the commander and the deputy commander. The two highest leaders of the military palace had died in a war a few years ago. Since then, these two positions had been vacant. There was once a rumor in the military palace that General Li Shu was the most likely candidate to take over the position of commander. Li Shu naturally thought so too. He had a lot of power in the military palace. Almost half of the generals were on his side. Moreover, he had a close relationship with some of the higher-ups of the Xiaoyao palace. With all these factors combined, the position of the commander was obvious. However, just as Li Shu was about to throw a celebratory feast, such a shocking piece of news came. Duke Xiaoyaro personally gave the order to select the third and second place as the highest leaders of the military palace. When Li Shu received this news, he almost overturned the main hall. "General Li Shu, what do you think?" someone asked. The old man in armor had a hunched back. His expression was grave, and he seemed a little displeased. "What can I do? This is an order personally given by the Marquis. Could it be that we can disobey?" Li Shu shook his head. No matter how unhappy he was, he couldn't show it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good if they were caught red-handed. "Vice Commander has arrived." Right at this moment, a voice came from outside the hall. Yi Long walked in with his head held high. "Greetings, Vice Commander." Yi Long nodded. He was rather satisfied with the generals. "From today onwards, I am the Deputy Commander of the military palace. You must carry out my orders," Yi Long said. "Deputy Commander." Li Shu took a step forward. "You are Li Shu?" Li Shu nodded. Hearing this, Yi Long grinned. Then, he took out Xiao his token and said, "Young Master Xiao, he told me that you will need to rely on General Li Shu's guidance in the future." As expected, Li Shu heaved a sigh of relief. Xiao his token was a signal. It meant that Yi Long was on their side. "Li Shu is willing to serve you." With Li Shu taking the lead, the generals began to express their stance. Of course, there were also some who were not convinced. "Brat, it's not impossible for us to listen to you. As long as you can tame the Black Orchid group and make them obey your orders unconditionally, we will naturally obey you," the burly General Ma Song said coldly. When the generals heard the Black Orchid group, their expressions changed drastically. Even Li Shu frowned a little. Everyone knew that Ma Song didn't get along with him. It was just the beginning, and he was deliberately making things difficult for the deputy commander. "Haha, shouldn't this be the commander's business?" Yi Long said with a smile when he saw Li Shu winking at him. "That's right. Taming those troublemakers of the Black Orchid group should be the commander's business," Li Shu echoed. Creak. The door of the hall opened and Fang Chen walked in. "Lin Chen, oh, no, it should be Commander Lin," Yi Long said. "Many of the generals are people who have experienced life and death battles. They are not willing to be ordered around by a brat like you." Clang. Fang Chen threw the commander's golden seal in front of everyone. "I am the commander personally appointed by Xiaoyaro Hu. If you are not convinced, you can go and argue with Xiaoyaro Hu." Fang Chen's cold gaze swept across everyone. "Brat, what are you so arrogant for?" Ma Song said angrily. "Open your dog eyes and look carefully. This is the commander's golden seal." Fang Chen didn't want to repeat himself. Ma Song glared at Fang Chen and wanted to slap him to death. But in the end, he restrained himself. Attacking the commander was a crime punishable by death. Even if he complained to Xiaoyaro Hu, it would be useless. Ma Song was terrified. "Is there anything else? If not, you can leave." Fang Chen didn't have time to care so much and directly used the commander's golden seal to suppress everyone. "Commander, we have an independent regiment in the army palace called the Black Orchid Regiment. There are some troublemakers in it and we have been thinking about how to tame them." Li Shu smiled and said, "If the commander can tame the Black Orchid Regiment, you will definitely be supported by everyone. If you can't even tame a regiment, what do I need you generals for?" Fang Chen scolded. "Commander, you may not know, but the members of the Black Orchid Regiment all have forces behind them. If they are not the sons of high officials, they are the sons of unparalleled experts. We really can't do anything. I'll leave this matter to you," Fang Chen said coldly as he turned his head to look at Yi Long. "If you can't complete the task within 3 months, get lost." After saying that, he left the main hall without looking back. Too arrogant. "Just wait, I will kill him sooner or later." Li Shu narrowed his eyes and thought. Yi Long snorted. In the commander's residence. Cultivate in seclusion. Although he was given the position of commander, he only wanted to cultivate. He could leave the miscellaneous matters to Yi Long. It had to be said that the chi of origin in the commander's residence was even stronger. This was indeed an excellent place to cultivate. Fang Chen sat cross-legged and began to cultivate in seclusion. Li Shu and the others secretly spread the news of the commander's arrogance. They didn't forget to add fuel to the fire and create a negative image of Fang Chen. For a time, the entire army palace was full of complaints about Fang Chen. Especially the Black Orchid Regiment. When they learned that the commander was going to attack them, they were furious.